Hello, listeners and readers of AwardsWatch.com. This is episode 294 of the Awards Watch Podcast. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor, and joining me is Josh Parham.
Hello, hello.
And Jay Ledbetter.
Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell.
Jay, what are you doing here? You're never on the main show.
It's the name of the game today. I'm here. I'm on half the episodes on this podcast feed. I figured I'd tip the scale.
You think you just do a full week of potting?
Yeah.
That's
I love it. My wife especially loves when I do multiple podcasts a week. So.
We're here to do a director stock market assessment. Right, Jay? How would you what would you call it, Jay?
No, I mean that's exactly right.
Game?
It's the stock market game for directors.
I'm excited
to do it
back in November of 23 from Movie Stars. And this was formed from the mind of our own Jay Ledbetter of what's a movie star. And
I mean, in today's era, yeah, it's especially interesting to consider.
I think we'll talk about that here in a minute, what we found off of that episode just a year and change later. But we're here today to talk about directors because, well, Jay and I talk about directors every single week on Director Watch, and Josh is a guest, and everyone's frequently a guest, but we all are big fans of directors, and this is a director's medium that we're talking about left and right, which is movies. And the future of cinema depends on having directors that have visions, that also can connect with audiences, that can be successful and create legacies for decades and decades to come, and create movies that can be included on best of the decade so far or best of the century so far. And we've done those lists over on the website, and I just seemed to follow up the actor one with one about directors. And we have some rules. We'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about how we feel the criteria should be for that. And we are going to set that here today amongst the three of us. And then we've got an extensive list of people that we're going to talk about and give our takes on whether we should buy their stock, sell their stock, or if we're holding that stock and waiting for a little bit more evidence. Guys, how you doing today?
Doing great. This is going to be an exciting episode. I love this. Obviously, this sort of stemmed from my demented mind.
Yes.
So I'm
definitely so. Yes, we can clip that audio and take it with us and put it on every episode.
The demented mind of Jay.
The demented mind of Jay. I wish that if you were a director, Jay, that's literally what it would.
No,
say
I would have the
card.
David Fincher, the feel bad movie of Christmas. That would be kind of that's my vibe as a podcaster.
Josh, you told me before we got on that you went back and listened to a little bit of that actor episode of the stock market game there. I'm curious. I listened to a little bit of it back as well and went through my notes. I'm curious if you found a trend or two, or maybe a correct pick or an incorrect pick, or maybe a absolute dead on hold that we're still waiting out evidence on that episode.
Yeah, well, I will say I'll mention two up front because one indicts me and then another indicts somebody else. I'll start with the one that makes me look bad, which is that I was very critical about Michael B. Jordan. And I think that I don't think Sinners has completely turned me around, but I think that is enough evidence to suggest that people will show up for him, spearheading a movie. So I'm willing to admit that there's more there to him, and I was very dismissive. On the flip side, though, the very first name we talked about was Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah.
And I was the only one who said, guys, I think he's already there. And everybody was like, nah, don't believe it.
No. I especially said, no. And sure enough, he is probably the biggest movie star under 40 in the world right now.
He might be the only one, honestly.
That is the note I was going to take away from is that we were waiting on, at that time we did that episode, Wonka had not come out, Doom Part 2 had not come out.
Because it had been pushed,
and A Complete Unknown had not come out.
So he's been 3 for 3 since then.
3 for 3 since that episode. So I think we can clearly, and Jay's right, we don't even need to say it, but we can clearly state that Timothée Chalamet is the movie star of the era.
I'm just saying some people knew that on that episode.
Okay. All right,
So
Josh.
somebody was already buying that
One of the
stock
people
'cause they
on this,
believed it.
on this podcast.
I mean, Sophia was there.
Right.
I think she said it actually before Josh. No, I'm just kidding. I think that, no, you're absolutely right, Josh. I think I needed to see just that, what happened. And honestly, Wonka really was the one, because
That was the surprising one. I
once
personally
that happened,
am
it
still
was
not
done.
all the way there, but the world has spoken, and he is a movie star.
Jay, what are you talking about? You're not there. Like, you have to be there. He is a movie star, period.
He is a movie star. He's not one of my guys, though.
No, he's not one of your guys, but that's
No.
not the game. Is not Jay's guys. The Jay is
That is
called
true.
the
That's
movie
what it
star
should be.
stock
We should have a
market.
Jay's Guys episode.
I don't think we want to talk
That's
about Jim
just every day,
Caviezel and
isn't
everybody
it?
in the
Like,
Trump cabinet.
I think the
you know?
listeners would love that.
So it's just Mel Gibson, John Voight, Sylvester Stallone,
James Woods.
James
Yeah.
James
We
Woods,
love James Woods. Zachary Levi.
Spacey Corner.
Yeah,
You know.
Spacey. We love him.
Jay sent me literally something about, what was it about, like his manager?
Nah, we're saving that for the next Sophia episode. Do not spoil that.
If you guys
Oh,
want to
is
look
this
it
the
up,
story you mentioned on the last one of the director's watches?
Yeah,
that you did?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Josh
I meant to,
listens.
yeah.
no, we'll tell you, Josh.
Yeah, you gotta
Listen,
tell me that.
don't worry,
I
folks.
remembered that. I
Don't
gotta know
worry.
what that is.
Stay tuned for an episode for an episode of Director Watch during the Verhoeven series, and we will talk about. I think it's kind of right to talk about that during. I'm just going to say this now. The Benedetta episode is when you'll hear it, and it is unholy in a lot of ways. So
Oh, I can imagine.
it'll ruin childhood nostalgia for anyone that grew up in the '90s. So
A great tease. Yes.
great tease there for sure. But yeah, Jay actually was dead on in that episode, because we were waiting for Gladiator 2 for Paul
Oh yeah, I was
Mescal.
the Mescal skeptic.
Yeah.
Jay was absolutely right about that.
Yep, you were right.
Jay also clocked me absolutely right in the hold pattern for Robert Pattinson, because I kept saying, and he said, if Mickey 17 made $795 million, then Ryan gets to come on here and gloat about that. Well, Jay was right.
Well, that's one
it
of those
did
where I'm
make
like,
that.
I love Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
He's not a movie star universally.
And I think did we buy or did we sell on Powell? Did we buy on Glenn Powell?
We bought.
I think we bought on
that.
Powell.
And they were right on that. And
Well, yeah,
I-
because the
yeah.
rom-com came out after that, didn't it?
no, the rom-com had already come out.
That
No,
had
it
already
hadn't.
come out?
No, because we had already seen the trailers for it. That
Oh,
were
okay.
terrible.
But then we had Twisters and Hitman, and now he's going to be in Running Man. He's
I
the
don't know
man.
about Running Man though.
Did you not like it? Did you not like the trailer? this week?
If you asked me about Glenn Powell today, I'd give it a hold.
Would you give it a
I
hold?
would, I would
Okay.
give it a hold.
I kind of feel like also a hold. I feel like other emotions were taking over me when we were talking about Glenn Powell. So I think more
When we talked
objectively
about
speaking, it's
when
the
we
hold.
talked about her during the Dune part, because we talked about Butler, which Jay's 100% sold on, even though I think he might be moving to a hold soon. Was Florence Pugh? I think I might move to a buy.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I felt
Yeah.
that way even when we recorded that episode.
So,
Yeah, I was a buy then. I think I'm still a buy now. I think she has really good taste.
yeah, she's got good taste. So,
And
but
people are
Still haven't
interested
seen,
in
still haven't
her.
seen Thunderbolts.
still haven't seen that Thunderbolts.
Haven't experienced.
Jay, where are you at with the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Oh, they're doing great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You excited for
what's to
Fantastic Four?
criticize? I no, actually, I'm not. I'll be honest, I'm not excited for Fantastic Four. I will see it, but I'm not terribly excited. I haven't seen. Still haven't seen Thunderbolts. Still haven't seen the new Captain America.
I thought
I
you
haven't
watched
either.
half of it,
I watched a very short amount of it. Yeah,
and then your
Have-
power
have
went
not
out.
Watched. Yeah, my mental power went out. Yes,
Well,
I will finish it though.
you better get ready, because we're not going to have Marvel again for another year next year, which is kind of cool.
Wait, is that true? After Fantastic Four, there's like a year break.
Yeah, because they moved the Avengers movie to the following year. Oh, wait, no, the Spider-Man movie is going to be out there next year, right? I assume they're going to push that because they don't have the.
I don't know anything about a Spider-Man.
I assume they're going to be pushing
Spider-Verse or
no.
MCU
Spider-Verse
Spider-Man?
is still 27. I'm talking MCU Spider-Man. But
I don't think that's on the.
I don't think
horizon
that's
at
coming out
all.
next year either. So
Yeah.
you know what? That's fine for me. They keep pushing all these Spider-Man things back. That means Tom Holland's busy. He can't make that Bond movie. So
We do not need to talk about that until.
You know what I'm talking about, Josh?
I do not want to even acknowledge it until I have to.
Okay. Don't worry, folks. We will talk about Bond when we get a Bond. When we get a Bond, we're going to come on here, and Josh and myself and Griffin and maybe some other people will all come on here and do like a big either
Therapy session.
Therapy session. I was going to say it's not going to be a celebratory episode for most of it.
Yeah, they are. They have Spider-Man Brand New Day on the calendar.
Yeah. So
for a full year after Fantastic Four, but I have heard nothing about that movie. That's supposed to be
because they haven't started because they're filming the Avengers movies.
Destin Daniel Cretton.
I think it's going to be pushed back. 100%.
I think that's going to be pushed for sure.
Anyway, this episode's starting off wonderful. It's like a director watch episode. Anyway,
we're doing great.
We're here to do now the director stock market game. Gentlemen, you had a week or more actually to kind of think of some criteria that you're setting for yourself or that we should set for this game. I set one already. I think that any director under 50 is eligible for this list. We can debate whether some of those directors have already passed that threshold or of needing to be even in a different category for.
You know what, Ryan? I'm buying Paul Thomas Anderson.
Okay. And the reason why is Jay's absolutely right, because everybody in the 55 to 60 range are guys or girls that we love and we talk about probably on a daily basis, and our directors that really we grew up with. So I'm thinking about Fincher, the Coens, PTA, Nolan, Sofia Coppola.
I'm excited for the next David Fincher movie.
Yes. We're already we've already bought all that stock from most of those directors, even beyond like Andrew.
That's
Hay
a mature stock.
Denis Villeneuve for some people, you know, and then even beyond that, you know, the Cronenbergs, the Scorseses, the Spielbergs, the veterans are on a different list as well. And then there are like
Spielberg stock is like all bought up by now.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not expecting
you're not getting in there
return out of Spielberg at this point, given his price.
Malick, you know,
I'm buying Malick.
Jay, you own the stock. Like
I think he's still got 4. I'm the majority owner of Malick Enterprises.
He's the majority franchise owner.
Yeah.
But then there's also, you know, there's modern people as well in there over the last many years. Even someone like Sean Baker in his 50s who just reached the mountaintop.
His price has never been higher.
Has never been higher. So that's where I had it. I thought anybody below 50 was game, regardless of their piece success so far that we could talk about here. But Josh, I don't know if you then saw the list and then had some own special criteria that we should have here, or if you're good for that as well.
Well, that's a good foundation. And I do think, like, when you are talking about directors in this modern era, I do think that there are a couple ways you can look at how much they are influential within the entertainment industry. Obviously, you mentioned like the old masters that we all revere, and like, yeah, that's one thing to say. These are people that have a definite point of view, they have an artistic vision, and people respond to that, and we flock to those movies because we want to see that. But, you know, there are another class of directors out there that are incredibly successful simply because they work within a system. And like, do we dismiss that just because there's no author kind of viewpoint to it? I don't know. Like, is that fair to say that somebody who can just plug themselves in and direct a multi-billion-dollar earner, even though it doesn't have much of a stamp on them personally, does that, you know, do we dismiss that? I don't know.
For the wheel of film, that is film, the wheel of the encompassing film world, you got to have your Doug Limans along with your Todd Hayneses. You know what I mean? You got to have guys that'll be your journeyman, and you got to have your visionary auteurs to go on the same side. And then
he's 51 years old, so he doesn't qualify. But Joseph Kaczynski,
yes,
he's.
I was literally thinking about him. He was
this. He should honestly be on this list, despite being 51. He's
Well,
sort
Jay,
of,
do you want to buy or sell Joseph Kosinski stock?
I still haven't seen F1, so I can't
So you have to
fully speak to
abstain.
it. I have to abstain.
Well, judging by the box office receipts, though, a lot of other people have, and I
Yeah,
think
they're
I would
buying.
absolutely be buying.
You got to buy. I love
Josh, would
Maverick
you buy
so
Kosinski
much.
stock?
Yeah, even though I didn't
Yeah.
like F1 all that much, but
Yeah.
I still would buy that stock.
I buy Kosinski stock if he's with Jerry Bruckheimer. I would not buy it outside of that because that Spiderhead movie that he did a couple years ago on Netflix,
Spiderhead was totally okay.
crapola.
I liked Oblivion, though. That was good.
I like that. Cruise or
I
Bruckheimer.
like Spiderhead ish.
I like Tron Legacy.
But who is, I mean, the ultimate example of what you just said, where it's like, is he a product of a machine or a true movie star, is Chris Hemsworth. Like that's the kind of prototype for the, what do you do with this guy?
What do you do with him? Yeah. Tony Scott's a little bit of what I'm talking about too. The best of both worlds there, Josh.
Yeah.
I mean, and Jay. So Jay, did you have any criteria? Do you want to rip into me for setting that at the age limit or
no? But as we go through here, I am going to be like, these people are operating on like different stock exchanges. You know, it's the
value
Ramel,
assessment is
the
different.
Ramel Ross exchange stock is probably operating on a different exchange than.
Well, you don't know. Don't spoil the list.
I'm not going to spoil the list.
Yeah.
But Ramel Ross is like a very unique filmmaker whose films I never expect to make $250 million. You know?
Yeah, but we're not setting a criteria that everybody here has to make $250
No, but that's what it
films.
is. It's kind of an individual criteria.
Yeah.
So
The barometer of success is different for some of these filmmakers.
There are directors on this
Jay,
list.
one of my favorite.
He's playing a different game than some of these other folks.
I mean, Jay, my favorite director, as you know, is Paul Thomas Anderson. He has never made $200 million for one of his films,
and never will,
and probably never will.
But I don't know that he'll make more money than Ramel Ross. Probably, I don't know. Maybe Ramel Ross is gonna make the next.
I mean,
maybe he'll make Squirrel Girl. I don't know.
You never know.
Could be.
You never know.
But I doubt it.
I mean, we'll
POV
talk
of the squirrel going around
from the squirrel. Right from the get go, trying to get the acorn. Yeah.
Beautifully lit shot of a dog.
Oh man,
chasing it down. Yeah.
What will that all mean about society? God, Marvel's not ready for it. They're not ready for it. I added a lot of names here, so we might not get to all of them today. We're going to try to get to as many as we can. I put names on here of obviously recognizable people that have already made a feature. They had to make a feature film. They didn't have to get nominated for prizes. They're just names that we know, that we've discussed on this pod or end of the year's list.
To this podcast should recognize.
You should know them.
Name that we're going to talk about.
Most of these names, and at least if you don't know who their name is, then you should know the projects that they have made. And so I think that as we will go on and talk about these names, we will be discussing their past, where they are now, and also, of course, their future projects that will play a factor into their stock. Okay? Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let the stock market
ring the bell.
commence.
The stock market is open.
It's open. All right. So we are going to either buy, sell, or hold the stock of these directors. First up, Emerald Fennell.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I really wanted to start off this with a conversation.
Yeah.
Because when you go online and you talk about the films of Emerald Fennell, you have a conversation. Promising Young Woman, Saltburn, and now the upcoming Wuthering Heights.
The interesting thing about her is I think the public is very high on her. I go to work with my youth.
With the youths?
People that I work with, and they're like, Saltburn was like a very important thing.
Josh, do you think when he walks in, it's the Steve Buscemi gif to work? When you think that's what happens when Jay walks into work talking to the youths?
How are you doing, fellow kids?
A little bit, yeah.
Do they have do you do it around the water cooler, Jay?
Well, people like to ask me about movies, and they definitely
found out
talk
you're
to
the
me
movie guy?
a lot about Saltburn.
Okay.
Because everybody watched Saltburn.
Yeah, they did.
It was a big deal of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole thing about Emerald Fennell is I think she is a very interesting visual filmmaker who, for the love of God, let somebody else write your movies. And for that reason, I'm not going to go full sell on her. I'm going to put a hold on Emerald Fennell, which
Okay.
I think is a little surprising, kind of given my history with her films. Promising Young Woman was a movie that I was sort of tricked by at first, and now I think is not very good. Saltburn, I thought from the beginning was not very good. And Wuthering Heights, I think, is kind of a terrible match of material and author. But we'll see. But I think every one of her films, I think, are undeniably gorgeous. And so for that reason, I'm gonna put a soft hold on
Soft
Emerald
hold.
Fennell.
And
Josh?
she taps into something with the public that seems very palpable. Like, even if I don't
True.
like the movies themselves, like, I'm with you, Jay. I never thought Saltburn was good. Well, I
Yeah.
walked out that movie thinking this is actually pretty bad. But undeniable that that movie struck a chord with a lot of people. And for better or worse, for a filmmaker to really be that tuned in to what the public really wants to talk about, I think says a lot. Now, I think Wuthering Heights is going to be a big test of how that can be sustained, but I definitely think that she is really an important filmmaker right now. I really do. And I'm going to say hold as well. I'm actually close to buying, but Wuthering Heights, as I said, that's the one that can really make or break this whole thing. And I don't know if I'm willing to risk a buy because that's on the horizon.
I think in like a year's time, when we see that movie, we will be able to fully answer this question.
What if it
Yeah.
rules, though? That's the whole point of the stock exchange.
I can guarantee you.
Do you want to
maybe
get
just
in now?
Timestamp this now. Is not going to roll. I think it's. I
Okay,
think
so
it's
you're
going.
selling.
I would sell this stock
Okay.
because I think even though I liked Saltburn more than Promising Young Woman, I do think that by next year we could be wanting to sell that stock big time. But I think you're right. But as much as I want to sell it, I also kind of feel like I should go like with Jay with a soft hold because of the fact that she is tapping into something that the younger generations from us want to see in films. But aesthetically, I agree, Jay. I think that she's got pretty movies. I mean, Saltburn is a pretty film.
It's a really good looking movie. She's got Chazelle's, what's his name? Sangren?
Yeah.
Cinematographer.
Nico Sangren.
Yeah,
And so I think actually I'm not going to sell. I'm going to soft hold it, but with
All right, we're going hold.
And uniformly go with a hold here.
I think she has a good movie in her. I really do.
I mean, I like Saltburn not as much as you guys. I mean, you guys do not like that movie at all. But I liked it. I thought it was just a fun experience. I don't think it's like rich in thematic text.
As like a piece of Gen Z pop,
entertainment, it's pretty
people
fun.
love it.
Yeah. And that's and it's a good home watch, and it's a good movie to like take in like segments. But I just think next year I can't get our good friend here and associate editor Sophia Simonello has basically planted in my brain what I think this movie is going to be, as well as my own wife, who said,
Yeah.
I think this is going to try to be her Marie Antoinette, and that is a dangerous thing, because I love that movie, and also I don't think that works outside of maybe a couple people that could do it. So we shall see. But it's going to be a big movie. It comes out in February. But also Warner Brothers track record in February, like even this year with like Mickey 17 was not very good as well. So we'll have to see if it, I mean,
Warner's on a heater.
Lordy, Margot Robbie, there's been a ton of
That
negative.
sounds pretty good.
There's
Right
been
there.
but there's
me.
been a ton of negativity online about the casting and everything. So we'll see if that translates
Yeah,
to
but
people not seeing it or not.
Online stuff you have to take with a grain of salt in
You
terms
do.
of how much that is really impacting the larger
But she
culture.
engulfs conversation. So that's very true.
Which for a director these days is what you really need to do.
Really
That
good.
is true.
All right. She's a hold. Damien Chazelle. The last time we saw Damien Chazelle, he had made one of the big flops of the year in 2022 with
Yeah,
Babylon?
And First Man didn't do well either.
First Man did not do well, but he is an Academy Award winning Best Director for La La Land. He had Whiplash. Guy Madeline on a park bench. I want people not to forget that film because that was literally his debut. People think Whiplash was his debut. Where do we sit with old Damien Chazelle, Josh?
It's tricky, obviously, because he's got high highs and low lows.
I mean, he saved
So,
jazz, right? You
yes,
gotta
he
think
is
about that.
the savior of
Many are
jazz,
saying.
Many years. Many.
Um, I think though, I still have faith. I think I would still buy Chazelle. I think that he got obviously a little too ambitious, which, I can understand when you win a Best Director Oscar when you're like, what, 35 or something, I can understand why those ambitions then got the better of him and he flew a little too close to the sun. But I still think that he is an incredible talent. I think you watch those movies and even something as flawed as Babylon is, there are still like very impressive things happening in that movie. And it still has a very dedicated fan base to it as well. So I don't think he's going to be making movies on that scale ever again, but I think he will still continue to make very intriguing works of art that people are still going to respond to. So I am still going to say a buy for him.
Jay?
Yeah, so the Evil Knievel movie that he was talking about is done, correct? That's not happening?
I do not believe that is happening because Leo's moving on to make one of the 3 Scorsese projects that he is up for right now. The
That has
one
been
with The
talked
Rock,
about for decades. Yeah.
the one that's the what
The Hawaiian gangster movie with The Rock actually sounded very interesting to me.
that sounds terrible.
I think it sounds very interesting.
I don't want to see one of Martin Scorsese's last films working with The Rock. No, thank you.
I don't know. We'll see after this. One of the
I'd
directors.
rather
that
him
we're
just
gonna
do the
talk about
wager. I'd rather Marty do the
see.
wager. That'd be
But
good.
Chazelle, I love Babylon. I'm not as high on First Man. It's really crazy that he will now have made 3 movies in the last 10 years for a guy who felt like he was going to be a mainstay in kind of this generation of filmmaking. I'm going to buy because right now I think he has nothing on the horizon, and I'm kind of excited about whatever he does next. It feels like he is really lost in the woods. It feels like his stock price is like at a low, and I'm going to provide some optimism to the future of Damien Chazelle. I think he made some bad career decisions, whether those were bad artistic decisions or not. You can make your own mind up on or not, but I really like Babylon, and I think he's got a lot of good stuff ahead of him.
I think that the Babylon hive out there is real.
Buzz.
And they're the only reason we're keeping his name right now in the consciousness.
Oh, you're selling.
I think you have to sell.
You're out on Chazelle. Okay.
I think
so
that
we got to buy, hold, and a sell here.
I think that he has had a decline. He was at the top of the mountain, right? When you win that Oscar, you're supposed to.
Did you like La La Land, Ryan?
I'm not a big fan of La La Land, but
I like La La Land.
But
I don't love.
He won Best Director, the youngest Best Director winner ever in the history of the award, if I'm not mistaken. So you could do whatever you want with that. And First Man, while I like that movie, I actually like that movie more than both of you guys, I think. And I think that's actually his
First Man, I think, is like totally solid.
I think it's his best film, actually. And that did not critically, commercially do as well as you would want it to. And then Babylon comes out, and it was just an absolute disaster, whether critically and definitely commercially. And now he has tried to make this Evel Knievel film, and that seems like it has gone by the wayside.
He's trying to make like a prison movie.
And he's got some prison movie, yes, with Cillian Murphy, and God, there's somebody else that was attached to it.
I mean, that sounds good.
I mean, it sounds great, but also the Evel Knievel movie sounded great with Leo and Adrian Brody.
Do you think he's just in director jail?
I don't know if he's in director jail. I think your description of him lost in the woods makes absolute perfect sense. And I think some people fall under the crumble of their own expectations. And I think that maybe something smaller, maybe this prison movie is the right thing to do. He has nothing lined up at this point. He has nothing in development.
That is a problem.
So I can't buy somebody that has nothing in like ready to go or even attempting to go. And I think that it's declining. And so you sell for now. It's a soft sell, but I could get back to a hold once I hear of something actually on the page in development with a crew ready to go and start shooting. But right now I would sell this stock because I mean, Babylon, what people forget about how much money that movie lost people.
Yeah, like I said,
that movie was not as expensive as its reputation would imply. I mean, $80 million is still a really big movie, but that's not like Avengers,
No, but I mean, still,
Mission Impossible.
There's somebody we're going to get to here soon.
$400 million.
I mean, there's a director we'll talk about here very shortly that made an $80 million movie, and their movie just had is hailed as a great return on investment for original filmmaking.
I think I have an opinion on, or
yes.
a hint on what we will think of that filmmaker. But let's move on.
So we are holding as a collective group.
I guess collectively it would be.
Yes.
I guess collectively
it's a collective hold. All right.
He's a really talented guy.
Yes. Or no, you guys are buying because you guys are buying, right? 2 buys outweigh a sell, a soft sell. So
were Josh and I both buys?
Josh, you were buy. Yeah. So he's bought.
Then we're buying. Soft buy.
Soft buy.
Soft buy on Chazelle.
All right. Celine Song.
I have not seen Materialist, so I am going to just say hold.
How dare you?
The Celine Song thing is an interesting thing to talk about because I was shocked to see how many people came out of the woodwork as being anti-Past Lives.
Yeah.
Where they're just like,
you and I have been talking about this.
I never liked Celine Song. Whether that is
feels
true or
so
not
online.
In the context of kind of this.
Yeah.
It feels so revisionist history.
But that might be a reason to be like, buy. If you like Past Lives and now that's at its all-time low, then maybe that's a buy. But
you get a reactionary, sort of
get a great return on investment there.
That's what trading is about, man. And it's not about performance; it's about perception. So I'm gonna as someone who has not seen The Materialists yet.
No, Jay.
Excuse me, Materialists.
God, these old people have been written, and I'm not blaming you, Jay, but a lot of people have been putting that there. And this is
Materialists,
not a Marvel movie, for Christ's sake.
Haven't seen it. Gonna give it a hold.
All right,
because I do love Past Lives. Obviously, been a very mixed response to Materialists, and who knows what's coming. So I'm gonna honestly just gonna stay away. This is a stay away for me.
Josh,
I would still go buy. I mean, this is another occasion where she's never going to make a movie that's going to be hugely successful, a high earner. Yeah. I don't think that's happening. But in the realm of respected indie filmmaker who will have a dedicated following, I think that it's going to still be there. So, yeah, for the type of films that she's going to make in the sort of niche market, I think that you definitely can buy that stock for her.
Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. I think you can buy her stock. I think that's like, I too was with Jay. Like I woke up one morning, went online and said, what the fuck are we doing here with Celine Song and in this movie? And well, Past Lives wasn't any good. And this thing, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, what, like, come on now. I remember before
people did not say that 2 years ago.
Josh, I remember I was one of the last people on our staff to see Past Lives. And I was skeptical because I was like, well, maybe it's not the masterpiece everybody thinks it is. And then I saw the movie and I was like, yeah, it's kind of the masterpiece everyone has been saying.
Past Lives is really good.
It's really good. And even if I don't think Materialist is, they're different movies and they're different vehicles and they're doing different things. An evolution of a director. That's what we're talking about. They have different things to say, though she fits very much within the personal, which is, I think, a lot what we love about our favorite directors as well, and attaching themselves to their projects. She's very earnest and open about her process, and I think she still has great movies in her. And she's only 2 films in. I like both of her films, and you're right, Josh. I mean, she's essentially she's got a niche home right now with A24. They'll give her. She's got one of the very few people at that studio that's going to get a blank check right now to do what she wants to do. And she's earned it with these 2 films. And And if she's getting even people to talk about this movie left and right and agree and disagree, it's a lot what we talked about with Fennell and Chazelle. It's like, okay, well, if she's getting people to talk about it, isn't that the point of all this?
Yeah.
And then people got to go see the movie and make up their own mind, and making interesting choices and subverting expectations too. There was a little bit of a surprise going to Materialist and not expecting to see exactly what it was marketed as, which was kind of great. That's also a little bit of the A24 thing as well. So I'd buy, and I think we're gonna do back-to-back buys here and buy her stock. Okay, Ryan Coogler.
Stocks, that price is high.
Price is high right now.
Price is high right now. Stock's never been higher. I'm still gonna buy.
Yeah.
Although if he's making another, I'm really mad that it sounds like he's gonna be doing another Black Panther movie.
He should hand it off.
But is that like we're contractually obligated to make another
probably
Black Panther
is.
movie, you know?
I doubt it's contractually obligated. I mean, maybe it is, but
I don't know, he might have done like a 3-picture deal with them.
Or maybe he signed the first one, and then to get him on the sequel, they signed him up for 2 more. You know what I mean? As like a trilogy. Does that make sense?
His stock price has never been higher. I didn't care for the last Black Panther, and the next movie he's making is a Black Panther sequel, a threequel.
Yeah, I understand.
I'm moving to hold.
Ooh.
But the thing is, like, I totally get why the Black Panther stuff would make you skeptical, but I do think the fact that he was still able to branch out with Sinners and that became the big success that it did become.
Well,
I think
after the first weekend, everybody, I mean, it was very clear that it was going to be an absolute disaster, box office wise.
Well, if you read some, trades out there, which we don't need to get into right now. But I do think that his name alone seems to be something people are now responding to. And
he does seem to be one of the few. Yeah.
Yeah. I think because Sinners was so successful, people are like, you yourself are responsible for creating a giant hit. It's not just you relying on old IP. And I think that is a very key thing for him. And for that, I still would say buy, because I think Sinners definitely has now shown that it's not just the old properties that he's taking on and reinventing. People actually are responding to something that he himself is bringing to filmmaking.
I'm buying. I'm going back.
So Coogler has made a lot of great movies. Fruitvale Station.
In his career, he's only made like 4 movies. Right?
Fruitvale Station, very good movie. Creed.
5. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Love Creed.
Black Panther.
Really like it.
A global phenomenon.
Oh, an absolute
the
success
only,
in
the only
every
Marvel
way.
film to ever get nominated for Academy Award for Best Picture, which says something.
Which to me, it is the best Marvel movie.
Yeah, it's one of the top tier. Then he had obviously Black Panther 2, and it's not as good. But I mean, Jay, to be fair, to even story wise, I mean, his hands were completely tied behind his back on that one. Losing Chadwick Boseman.
No,
that's
for
not
sure.
necessary. That's not the movie that you want.
The one red flag with Coogler for me is like he loves studio stuff.
Yeah,
like which is a pro and a con for him.
He just produced
likes to play with the studios.
He just produced the new television series, though,
Ironheart. Yeah.
But he also was a producer on Judas and the Black Messiah. So
I think he loves studio money. Like I think that he loves
he loves money, but he obviously has great taste. Those videos of him explaining film stock are so good. He's such a likable guy.
But also, I think the other thing you have to buy off of the success of Sinners is the deal he got with Sinners and what he used his Creed and Black Panther.
You mean the thing that's breaking Hollywood?
That he's gonna own the rights to this movie down the road. And he
seems to have as much power as almost anybody.
It's the Tarantino deal. Tarantino got this deal with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, if I'm not mistaken. And Tarantino is going to own those rights within a couple of years as well too. And
then he'll probably say like, "Oh, this is not allowed to get released on home video. Everyone should just see it in a movie theater."
But
that's his prerogative.
Yeah. But I think the thing about Coogler is that he's also his mentor, I've read a lot about this. His mentor is, and the person that he talks to a lot, he gets advice from, is the biggest filmmaker on the planet, and Christopher Nolan. And Nolan himself has worked with the studios a ton throughout his career, has his own superhero trilogy as well too.
He's done IP.
And so again, I think you can say that he did one for them. Now he did one for him. He'll go back to do one for them, and then he will return and come back.
Black Panther trilogy, and then he moves on. But I desperately want him to detach himself from that.
I think that he's in
that's the thing about Coogler, is that he has made 2 non-IP movies in his career at this point.
Yeah.
Even his IP movies, I think, have been good.
IP
Less
movies
one, I think.
I mean, 2 out of 3 IP movies have been pretty great.
Agreed.
Creed is a great film.
I want more Sinners, less Black Panther.
I wish he would do what he did with Creed and hand it off. You know what I mean?
The problem is the stock price is so high right now. That's kind of like the thing that we're talking about.
It might
if the question is, do I think Ryan Coogler will continue to make good movies? The answer is yes.
But Jay, also the stock price might get higher.
Yeah,
it could. I think that
the stock price
sky
could
is
get,
the limit with Coogler for sure.
No, the stock price could get higher in like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, true.
He could win an Oscar, and it could change everything.
That is true.
That's the other thing. So you should buy now while you have a chance.
It's pretty expensive stock for sure, but it could get even higher. So
I say we buy the stock.
But why, if you're Coogler after Sinners, why are you like, oh, I want to retreat back to Marvel land? Other than money.
I mean, why does anyone want to go back to make those?
I think probably because
money.
I have a feeling that they give him
the answer is
lot more latitude, honestly, than they do their other filmmakers.
I think he feels a certain responsibility also to Boseman in leaving that place better than he found it. And I don't know. Who knows? He might just be.
That's a very romantic idea of what the MCU is about. But sure.
Yeah, but sure. But also, there's no one that has said that he is directing it yet. He could just write the story, produce it, and
I think that's the
next thing.
Ideal.
But it's the situation. But again, I don't think you get Denzel Washington if the rumors are true.
I don't think Denzel was signing on.
Also, Jay, he's getting Denzel Washington in a Black Panther movie. That's not technically a bad. That doesn't sound.
No, I mean that's fine. Either. Gladiator 2 was pretty bad.
No, it wasn't.
Denzel was good.
No, it was.
But Gladiator 2 was pretty bad.
No, it was good.
No, I liked it. It was pretty bad. Okay, I agree with Jay.
Moving on.
Anyway, we bought them.
We're buying.
that
collectively. We're buying for sure.
All right, Ari Aster.
Oh boy, this is a tough one. This is one of those where you're like, what market are you trading on? Are you on the film Twitter market, or are you on
I'm going
S&P 500?
Now I have seen Eddington.
I have not seen Eddington.
So I feel like I need to abstain here. Because
is this insider? Is this insider?
I feel like it's a little insider trading. Yeah, it's not fair.
Go share a sale with Martha. It's fine.
I'll give my thoughts after you guys make this decision. I think that's fair. So, Josh.
Josh, you go ahead.
Oh man, I have to go first. Eddington is unfortunately a wrinkle here because that movie is going to bomb. I know that it's not going to make any money, and it's already been very divisive, and it to me feels like something that could like derail somebody's career. But I still think that he is still a respected name enough, so I think I would say hold. I don't think I could do buy. I still feel like his sensibilities as a filmmaker can sometimes hit with an audience, but I still feel like it's a little too eccentric to be consistent. So I'm gonna say hold. I think he will be enough of a recognizable name that people will want to go see, but I think it'll be inconsistent in the marketplace.
Jay,
I'm putting Ari Aster on Hack Watch.
Oh, here we go.
I have never liked an Ari Aster film.
No,
I think he is.
That's not true.
Is that not true?
You liked when you got out of the theater of Midsommar because we did a review that
I did.
night.
Yeah,
and then you
like a nice 3 stars.
Yeah, no, you gave it you were like 4.5 out of the theater.
Oh,
and then
I don't know if I was that high.
I remember it, and then you came and then you thought about it.
Maybe I was.
And then you went, Actually, that was not that good upon reflection. So you had one of those. You had like a whoa.
I've seen Midsommar several times, and you might have been right. Out of the theater, I might have been enthusiastic about it, but
Yeah.
I am now mid to
You're mid
negative on every Ari
on
Aster
Midsommar.
film.
Yeah.
Now every Ari Aster film. I don't care for Hereditary. I don't care for Beau is Afraid. There's stuff in it where I'm like, this is an original vision, and I respect that. But for me, he's sort of empty calories to a certain extent.
You
From
love
a
his short films.
cinephile perspective. Oh yeah, the what's the big one called? What's it
The
called?
one with the Meet the Robinsons, Meet the Johnsons.
Yeah, it's the Disney film Meet the Robinsons. He
Yeah.
directed Meet the Robinsons.
No, I don't remember what it's called, but it's like really demented.
It's something.
Yeah,
It's something like that.
yeah, with the family. Yeah, it's
But
terrifying.
I'm have not seen Eddington. Based on the trailers, it is like the most on the nose COVID retrospective kind of A24 thing I've ever seen. Looks very unappealing to me. So I'm selling my Ari Aster stock, knowing that there's a lot of people who are big fans of his, and so I think his audience is built in, and I think there's nowhere to go but down.
Okay. I'm gonna hold because of reasons that we'll talk about here in the next couple weeks with Eddington. I think the movie is interesting. Much like Beau is Afraid, I think there is interesting things inside of there. I don't know if
Beau is Afraid has stuff in it. It's also like 2 hours and 40 minutes long.
It's too
ludicrous.
Long. Yes, I agree. The same kind of problems I have with Beau is Afraid is sort of the same I have with Eddington. I just think Eddington is better packaged, and which is weird, but you're absolutely right, Jay. Everything is on the nose, but I don't know. Sometimes that can be a good thing or a bad thing. I don't think it's obnoxious the way that some people out of Cannes thought it was. I think that there's a lot of interesting things to say, and I think we're still kind of. It's just hard to. Jay and I have talked about this with Verhoeven already. It's hard to make a commentary, satire in the modern lens. I don't think that it's 100% successful in that, but there's a lot of stuff and ideas in it. I'm not a big fan of Hereditary. I still do like Midsommar, but I'm willing to hold it because I do think that at a certain point, all these like really interesting little ideas are going to amount probably to something, to an overall film. Maybe it's a 90-minute film, maybe it's a short, something. But I don't know. I recently was able to see Eddington again, and I was actually kind of still. I came out of that screening more curious than I was out of the first one, out of Cannes, and whether that curiosity is good or bad, it remains to be seen. But I still weirdly am like a hold with it. And he's like Celine Song. He's got a blank check from A24. He's made the most expensive films ever.
I don't know how
them.
much of those blank checks are still going to be coming in, though.
No, that's fair because I agree with you, Josh. I don't think this movie is not going to make a nickel back.
And Beau is Afraid did not make,
especially it's like it's coming out
No.
the same weekend as Fantastic Four, if I'm not mistaken. So, and Superman's like a week before.
Counter programming.
Yeah, just great counter programming.
Yeah, take the whole family.
One for the family,
or
or the other to divide the family. So a hold for Ari Aster. Robert Eggers.
Buy.
I'm buying as well.
That's probably the quickest buy so far.
Yeah, like Nosferatu especially just sort of leveled him
Sold.
up to where he
Sold me,
was
man.
before.
I think he's a crossover guy too.
Oh yeah, because he's got
got
some
mass appeal. Horror plays.
horror does play. His movies are
Is his next thing
extremely-
going to be Christmas Carol? Is that what we're thinking it's going to be?
I think that's what
I think it's
he's.
the werewolf movie.
It's either that or the
Or
werewolf movie.
Yeah.
I mean, what people don't talk about enough is that The Northman was a big hit on VOD.
Yeah,
A huge hit. They won't tell you the numbers, but it's
No, people were like they were ecstatic about the success of that movie after it seemingly flopped in theaters.
And
Yeah.
Jay's not exaggerating. Like
No.
that is a
People were
model
like,
that Focus is using
Whoa, huge,
to this day.
Huge
Yeah.
win. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Nosferatu was a surprisingly big hit for during the holiday season.
Didn't it make 100 million? Didn't it cross that?
Did it cross it?
If it didn't, it got real close.
Hang on. Talking amongst yourself.
181 million international.
It did. Wow.
Yeah.
So it made
95.6 domestic and then 181 international.
You mean total?
Total.
Yeah. 181 total. Global.
Yes.
On a $50 million budget. Yeah. So it made it.
But almost broke 100 domestic. That's
yes.
Like for a movie like that is extremely impressive.
An R-rated gothic horror movie set at Christmas.
And that movie, when you watch it, you're like, oh yeah, nobody will watch this. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an inaccessible piece of art.
And then everybody went and saw it.
Yeah.
Because horror is successfully one of the genres right now that is in demand. If done right. Because Megan Part 2 did not.
Well, you said horror movie, though.
Yeah, that's not a horror movie, I guess, right? That's more of like
that was the first problem.
What would you call that movie, Josh?
That's a meme.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's an action comedy. That's what it is. It's not
that movie should have never come out during the summer. That should have stayed in February.
It should have not been an action comedy, too. That was the other thing.
Well, it just looked like T2. That was the thing. I felt like the trailer gave everything away. Eggers is 100% a buy.
Yeah, easy buy.
Greta Gerwig.
I'm all in on Eggers. Yeah, I like all of his movies.
Yeah. What about Greta Gerwig?
Well,
I'm buy. I'm like all in buy. I'm like
I would still say buy.
I bet her Narnia movie will be good. I actually feel like it's a good point to buy on her because a lot of people are doubting that it will work with the Narnia thing. I think it's just going to work.
I'm 100 in the buy. I am extremely nervous about that Narnia movie. I was not nervous though. Jay knows
I've been
this.
nervous about her last two movies.
I was not.
They worked.
I was not nervous about Little
That's
Women.
kind of where I
was not nervous about Barbie. Jay knows that. I was not worried about that. I am worried about this one. This one.
I was very worried about Barbie.
You were, and then it's good. It's a good movie.
It's good. It's her worst movie, but it's
and
good.
It made $1.4 billion. You know,
it worked. Well, that's the other problem is how do you measure the success of a Netflix movie? You know.
I mean that's the Ryan Johnson.
I don't love that she's
Knives
now
Out thing,
in the Netflix family, but
she's kind of always been there.
It sounds like
Noah.
they're going to do more of a theatrical release for that movie.
At least an IMAX run too.
We will see.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. Honestly,
Josh, your thoughts on Gerwig?
I mean, I think I would still say obviously buy. I mean, I think that she still has an incredible pedigree in her filmography. Yes, I am nervous about Narnia, but regardless of my feelings about it, I think that film is going to be successful on whatever metric you want to use to measure that. Yeah, she's like one of the most important filmmakers that are working right now. I think you have to absolutely acknowledge that. And just because I'm a little scared about her upcoming project,
exactly,
doesn't erase everything else that's been going great for her. So yeah, obviously buy.
I totally agree. She's one of the only. She's got a passionate fan base as well too. She's knocking on the door of an Oscar. She will probably have one of those here within, not probably the Narnia film, but in the future.
She'll get one day.
She'll get one day. And she's great. And also people love working with her. And she's worked with people across the board. I mean, Florence Pugh, Timothée Chalamet, Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan, all these great actors. And like, what is it? Like the rumors are Meryl Streep is Osland and Carey Mulligan and Daniel Craig and Emma Mackey, and that's and that movie will come out at Christmas time and it'll be in the IMAX. People will like it. People will go see it. You know what I mean? It'll be good. Gerwig, another buy.
I'm buying.
Yeah.
John Watts, Jay.
This is a penny stock.
If I Jay gave you 10 photos of a white guy, could you identify John Watts?
No, I'd be like, why did you show me a picture of myself?
I was gonna make the same joke. You just show a picture of Jay and be like, oh, that's it.
Why did you put a mirror in front of me here?
It was right there. Thank you, Jay, for acknowledging it.
Ryan, I'm gonna shock you.
Oh boy.
I'm buying John Watts stock because it's at an all-time low. We're at an all-time low. Wolves was one of the worst movies I saw last year. I thought it was absolutely abominable.
And it shouldn't have been. It had no right to be.
The pit
Pitt and Clooney
reunion sounds great. It obviously did not work. He now has a first look deal with Disney.
What?
Yeah, he's got a first look deal with Disney. So
shit.
I'm kind of like, maybe his old sensibilities will come to the fore, and I think he is at an all-time low.
But what is he going to make, Jay?
I don't know.
Because
it's up to him in theory.
Because he made what the 3 Spider-Man films, right?
He made 3 Spider-Mans,
and he made Cop Car,
and Clown.
Which one's Clown?
Clown's that the horror movie. I haven't seen it.
Okay. Josh,
Eli Roth is like in it.
I think so, because I think the premise is like the guy turns into a clown, right?
Okay, cool.
The horror movie.
So Joker. All right, cool.
And then Wolves, which was abysmal.
That was one of the most disappointing films of the year.
But you know what he produced?
Oh boy.
Which I also still haven't seen, but people love it. Final Destination Bloodlines.
So he's okay. All right.
Well, and I'm like, let's go more that route.
He did seem like in a recent
interview,
which I think
is what he needs to do.
Out.
He needs to go the Cop Car Clown Final Destination route. The question is, will Disney let him do that? But again, I think his stock is so low right now. I'm like, he might have a good movie in him. So I'm gonna soft buy.
Josh.
Well, he's also another one that I talked about, sort of earlier in the introduction. It's like, I do not think there is much to his filmography that I find to be distinctive, but he works seemingly very well within this giant system to get these movies off the ground. So that is a skill that I do want to acknowledge. Like, not everybody can do that. Even some of the filmmakers that we revere and think are geniuses cannot plug themselves into a giant machine and deliver something that most people can enjoy. You may call them a hack, but they're still relatively successful even in that endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, though, I still feel like you have to have some kind of stamp to what you're doing, and everything he does is just completely anonymous to me. Even those earlier works, like there's
even
a little
Cop
bit
Car,
more.
I don't think Cop Car is that good.
Yeah, so I think I am still going to sell, even though I want to give an acknowledgement that he does have a skill that I think can be valuable, but I still think overall I'm not really putting that much stock in his filmography, and I don't like the Spider-Man movies all that much either. So
let me just be clear, I've never liked a John Watts movie I've ever seen. I'm also buying his stock.
I get the argument. I just don't think I can go there myself. I can't cross that threshold.
So wait, so Josh, sell?
I'm a sell, yeah.
I'm selling this stock.
Okay.
There's John Watts has lucked into the fact that he made
John Watts stock to the bank.
that he made 3 Spider-Man movies, but outside of that, he has made 3 other movies that are either not very good, not very memorable,
or terrible.
Or terrible. Yeah. And so
he's that new age of director where it's like you make a semi-successful indie
and they throw you in there.
You prove yourself to be competent, and then the studio knows that they can own you, and then
you lose yourself inside there.
It's the Trevorrow path.
He can maybe turn into a Doug Liman. Sure.
Well, that's but
Lyman seems to but even still, Lyman seems to at least have
every other movie.
He has like something in him within being a journeyman that you have to still be able to find interesting things to do with your visual language, or at least make this movie work. And he had 2 of the great movie stars we still have on this planet and delivered an absolute turd sandwich.
And he wrote it and he produced it. That movie stinks.
That is the literal example of what do you do outside of the Marvel machine. Ryan Coogler makes Sinners. John Watts makes Wolves.
Yeah. And
that's all you need to know.
Lyman comparison you were making, like before Lyman.
It's not even fair to Doug Liman.
Yeah, because Lyman had like stuff like Swingers and Go, so he was already providing more interesting work on an indie scale. And I would even argue his more big budget commercial stuff still has like a ton of style to it. You know, maybe not the most overt, but I find them to be way more engaging than anything that John Watts does.
Well, and he kickstarted a franchise, you know, because then he did
Yeah.
Born Identity, right? So maybe not the look of those movies that we know because of Greengrass,
Yeah.
but definitely
So maybe
kicked
I
off.
actually prefer the Lyman look, to be honest
Oh,
with you.
oh,
I
okay.
can at least see what's happening.
That's yeah, that's low praise.
All right. Okay. Um, all right. Jay, what did you do here on the sheet? You're screwing things up. Um, Messing things up, buddy. All right. Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, huge buy for me.
I mean, yeah, maybe the most important filmmaker working right now, honestly. Like, I always run this experiment in my head of like, if you saw a trailer and it said from director so and so, does the next card have to be from the director of other thing that you've heard of? Or can it just be that person's name? And it absolutely, I mean, Jordan Peele is already at that point where it could just say from producer Jordan Peele.
That
And
football
people,
movie coming out this year.
yeah.
What's that one?
So,
The football
Him?
horror movie?
him.
Him. Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
say most of those movies that have from producer Jordan Peele on them are not that great.
Doesn't matter
I'm
though.
kind of pumped
They're
for
using
him.
his name
It's-
to sell the
him
movie.
is getting an IMAX release,
Yeah, that's fair.
right? Like that's crazy.
But
Right. There
No,
were
I know.
movies, remember, during the heyday when it could just say from producer Steven Spielberg.
Or
All
M. Night
those movies were
Shyamalan.
great, but exactly.
Well, then
But you
Shyamalan
knew
would-
who that
people would laugh
person's
at
name
those.
was,
Yeah,
and you went to see the movie. So, like, this is an easy buy.
but Jay, still, even when you're laughing at him, he's still a name enough. People
No, I know,
what
but
his style is.
also the thing about Peele is I would say he's at his lowest point after Nope, in my opinion.
I think that with Peele, people don't necessarily go all out to see his produced stuff at that same rate as you guys are saying with like a Spielberg or others. But when it says from director Jordan Peele,
He's
way
one of
he-
the like under less than 10 people who that matters.
yeah, when the trailer for Nope dropped was huge. And that movie is one of the best films of the decade. Us was a big
I adore
success.
that movie.
Get Out's a phenomenon. We all want to see what that next movie is going to be, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It could be him reading the phone book, and it would probably be more exciting than just about half the films that come out in the year that it comes out. So no, he's a 1000% buy. Absolutely.
I'd be the highest stock price on this list, honestly.
One of the highest for sure.
Yeah.
Easily. When's that next
It is
movie
crazy.
supposed to come out? Next year?
Nope is kind of far and away his least successful movie box office wise.
Yeah. I mean,
So he's at a nadir, but my argument would be that Nope is his best movie.
but Nope is his best movie. But also
But
too,
there's so much hype still around his films, though.
yeah.
Like, regular people know who Jordan Peele is, and
But
they
that's
get
why
excited for
I'm
his
even
movies.
higher on the stock is like Nope is his low point and he's
Yeah.
still that good and people still care about him that much. Bye.
Also, that's
Yeah.
a movie that's gotten better for people since its release.
Yeah.
It made its way to home and repertory screenings of that. It's in now like the 70 millimeter lexicon for like 70 millimeter weeks for different summer
Played in
series.
Chicago on
Yeah,
70 millimeter last year.
exactly.
It's a great film.
Jay, didn't it play near you in 70 or something? I know it plays in LA a bunch.
I don't
like,
remember that, but
but yeah,
I hope so. I hope I
hope
can
so.
watch it in 70 one day.
yeah, and it's great. I just watched it like a couple weeks ago. It still rules.
It's great. It's got a great 4K too.
Yes,
Great 4K.
Barry Jenkins.
Buy.
Bye.
Huge buy.
For the types of movies that he's going to be making, yes.
That's the thing. He's trading on a different exchange than some of these.
I mean,
other
I know
people,
there is
but-
the Mufasa movie, but I really don't.
I mean,
think
it made
that's
a
going-
crap ton of money, so he can make more of those movies.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
don't think that's going to be a consistent thing in his career.
Well, I mean, he has like 4 films in development right now. He has
My
one with
buy
Glenn
comes
Powell.
from the fact that he's not going to make another Mufasa-esque movie again, but he's going to be able to ride the wave of the financial success of that
Yeah.
movie.
He's
Yeah,
got a
which
big
is fine.
sci-fi. He's got a big sci-fi title that he announced with Glenn Powell.
Mufasa stinks.
He has another project announced with Zendaya as well too, biopic, and he's got
Oh
two,
yeah.
he's got two other things in the hopper.
Wait, he's not doing the Ronnie Spector biopic, is he?
I believe so.
Is he? Oh wow, I didn't know that was him.
Yeah, I believe so. I could be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right.
I know she is. I know she's attached to
Oh
that.
yeah, she's attached to it.
Yeah.
Okay, you looking it up?
I'm looking it up. I'm almost certain that is his movie.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Which I'm shocked that it took this long to make a Ronnie Spector biopic, honestly.
I'm looking it up as well.
We might be wrong. I mean, he's got a bunch of stuff in the hopper. They've talked about him doing like the Knicks season 3. You know, that's been in the works for a while.
He's got the Alvin Ailey project that's been in the development since.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Since like Moonlight, or at least since at least If Bill Street Could Talk. One of our important directors that we have working period today. So
yeah, I think you still buy that stock from him. Like even if it is still in the relatively low budget, indie art
Be My
house
Baby.
range.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ronnie Spector, Zendaya, and Barry Jenkins. Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
That makes me more interested to see that movie now.
Absolutely.
Be very curious who they cast.
But the crazy thing about it was if you had told me 5 years ago who are the most exciting directors in the world, Barry Jenkins would have been like in the top 3.
I still think he's doing exciting work.
And the Mufasa thing has it's thrown cold water on that for sure. It took so much time. That's what was so disappointing about Mufasa. I think it took so much time.
Well, also too, Jay, and I know you haven't seen it, but he also did The Underground Railroad, which I know is not a film.
Yeah, that is actually embarrassing that I haven't seen that.
That is
I have it. It's within
massive piece of his filmography.
Right now, 2 steps away from me. I haven't watched it.
That's the other thing is like he made a Mufasa piece, but he also made Underground Railroad. I think they sort of kind of balance each other out.
And the money he got from Mufasa is going into the other project.
Exactly. And he's working now.
In theory,
he's got a movie with he's got a movie with Zendaya and a movie with Glenn Powell in development. 2 of the big quote unquote names.
The Glenn Powell thing is interesting. When is too much Glenn Powell?
When is too much Glenn Powell? We're gonna find out.
You're asking the wrong person.
But also too, like, would you rather Glenn Powell work with Edgar Wright or work with Barry Jenkins?
Both. I mean, sure.
I mean,
I like them both. I mean, look, I didn't love Last Night in Soho, but I think Last Night in Soho is probably better than Mufasa. So
that's true.
Yeah. So.
Well, I don't know.
They're both bad.
And Mufasa's good for what it is. It's better than It's better than
You're grading it on a curve.
Than the Favreau film.
Mufasa is bad.
It's better than that, but it's still not great.
It's bad. Yeah.
I was expecting the Favreau version again, and it's not great, but it's definitely better than some of these other things that I've seen. I rather watch Mufasa than.
I always wanted a brother.
There you go.
Okay, but like I did sort of like.
Yeah, the music's not bad. Yeah. So
I mean, it's not great either.
It's not great, but again, I've seen worse Disney movies this year. The live action movies I've seen are worse this year.
Oh, the Snow White songs are like awful.
It's awful. Yeah. That movie. Jay, did you watch that one?
I have not seen Snow White.
You'll wish you were watching Mufasa.
I will watch it. Thing. But the thing about the Lion King, the Favreau version is like, yeah, the songs are still pretty good. You know.
Dude, it's a copy paste. What are you talking about? That is a soulless movie, Jay.
No, I know. I mean, yes. The ultimate argument about that is like it is a copy paste of something far, far, far superior. But then you hear Hakuna Matata, and you're like, it's pretty catchy too.
I mean, but this is the same argument.
God damn it! Just put it on in the car.
Like,
yeah.
Like people watch that remake, and it's like this is soulless, but it's using the same story. So
yeah. There's no reason to ever watch it.
No reason
instead of the original.
No,
but you hear the Hans Zimmer.
At least they were trying to do something.
No, but you know what? They fucked up the Scar
music,
song.
And you're like,
though. They did do that.
Wait, with
disaster.
Be prepared.
With
that was a disaster. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they turned it into like spoken word.
Yeah, it's bad.
That was tough.
Terrible.
That's rough.
That was tough.
All right. Well, we all bought Barry Jenkins.
We're buying Barry Jenkins. I'm excited for everything that he has going on. I love Barry Jenkins.
The Daniels.
This is maybe the most interesting one on the list.
What do we do with the Daniels?
Well, I know what you're doing with the Daniels, Ryan.
What do we
No,
do
I mean, like, I
about
don't
the
like.
Daniels?
Honestly, they're in a little bit of the Chazelle situation because they made a movie that they were on top of a mountain and they have since just been coasting off of that. And they had a deal like Peele, like with Universal. They have a deal set up to make movies. They have their film that was supposed to be their follow-up, and it was taken off the slate. And now that movie sits in development, waiting for those guys.
Capitalized on winning Best Picture.
How do you not capitalize on winning picture, director, screenplay, and being the most annoying boys at the party? Like,
okay, there we go.
Like that's what they were. That's what they were. They were loud and proud
to you,
and they did not. And now they have got. I saw them last year at South by. I've seen them do Q&As with Nolan for the Oppenheimer year. These guys are not working. These guys are not making anything right now. They have nothing on the slate.
All they did was like one episode of Disney Plus Star Wars show.
Yeah, which I think they might have made.
And that's what you
probably before
everything everywhere all at once. Like what are they doing?
Yeah,
that is the question.
And the thing is,
not even an announcement of anything.
Sure, but everything everywhere, and just the Daniels in general, like nobody knew that movie was going to take off in the way that it did.
Yeah.
And I can maybe understand them being like, we are just weirdo filmmakers, and now everybody's asking what we want to do now. We don't know. We didn't expect to win 7 Oscars for this weird ass movie.
Yeah,
I can understand them being like, okay, maybe we don't want to jump into something right now, but that does make it rather difficult to determine what their future is going to be like. Yeah, for sure.
But I'll throw you the other one. These are guys that won 7 Oscars and haven't done anything. I think they just announced that they're producing like Paul Dano's next film, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah.
Meanwhile, another guy won like 6 or 7 Oscars the next year is making the fucking Odyssey. So like, what are you? And they work for the same studio, the same person signing their checks.
Yes,
so I'm just saying, like you got to strike while the iron's hot. You know, it's a little bit.
Didn't
with
they
Chazelle.
Sign a deal with Universal? Am I misremembering that?
Yeah, no, they did.
After, they've got a deal.
So you know what's funny? You know what's funny, Jay? I just said that like twice. That
they did. I'm sorry.
Jay doesn't listen to me.
I did literally just
literally. God damn! I'm like on this episode and everything.
That's kind of the main thing Ryan and I do on the podcast is me not listen to him.
Josh, I wasn't crazy this time.
No,
you literally did
it twice.
Just
said that they are getting checks from the same.
I heard the Dano thing, but I missed that other part. And I don't know what they're doing.
God, if I wanted to do this, I'd just do a podcast with my wife.
It feels like they're kind of overwhelmed by the success of that movie that they felt
feels like it. Yeah,
sort of like something that they were just doing for themselves, and then it turned into this huge thing.
Oh, I forgot about Peele. He produced Monkey Man last year. For Dev Patel.
Yeah, Peele did, yeah.
Because he was at South by, and he was sitting in the audience watching the film, and everybody was coming up and being like, "Hey, how's it going?" and everything.
Well,
and
Ryan, I already mentioned that Peele produced Monkey Man.
They were. Oh, you did? I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry, buddy. Were the Daniels? So,
Yeah,
I honestly don't know what to do with their stock. I'm at like a hold because I
kind of like at a hold, but it's also like it's getting close to a sell.
I think I still like Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah,
it's gotten, in my opinion, kind of a bad rap since it won Best Picture, as many Best Picture winners get.
That's inevitable. Yeah.
I think it's one of those films that people 10 years younger than us are like kind of obsessed with, and will be kind of an avenue into cinemaphilia for a lot of people. Cinephilia.
It was weird.
So I think it's a very important movie, and I think they've got
clearly
more in them, but I just have no idea what is going on with them.
Jay, clearly it's one of the 100 best films of the last 25 years, and it's better than Tree of Life according to the New York Times poll.
Well,
what do you got to say about that?
It is.
It was weird that In the Mood for Love was lower on the list than it.
My whole opinion of that movie when I came out of the theater was that is going to be the
Matrix
introduction to loving film for a lot of people, a lot of young people, because it was so reference based, it was so accessible.
You think though that they would go see those other films,
indebted to other stuff.
Yeah.
But the fact that they haven't made another thing, I don't even know what to do with.
Yeah.
But it is, you speak about Malick, it's kind of one of those Malick things. Or
Malick never made a movie like this.
No, I'm not saying that.
Success.
I'm saying they have a 5-year deal. They're on retainer where it's like whatever you do make, you get to make. But if you don't make anything, we'll also pay you.
Yeah, I got 5 years. I'll figure
Amazon
it out.
thing. So good for them, I guess. They're on retainer.
I also think too, the longer they wait to strike while the iron's hot, the more the discourse around them will build and the anticipation. And I wonder honestly how long they will be together as a creative unit, because I think one of them has what is it? Daniel Scheinert has made
The Death of Dick Long, which I would argue is actually the best
of their films
that any of them have made. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they could branch off and make other films as well, too.
A lot of duos are doing that now.
Yeah, exactly. The Coens have done that.
But that would be hard because they haven't even made a follow-up.
Yeah. I mean, to talk about the Coens.
It would take another movie for
the Coens already had their next film in the hopper after No Country for Old Men. They had Burn After Reading the next
the Coens
year.
worked together for 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost 40 years.
They're, so.
Well, you could technically just say when they were born.
Yeah, exactly. When they were born.
That's true.
Almost literally
60 years.
Exactly. If you wanted to. Yeah.
Almost like they're brothers. So we're going to hold on them, but it could slide down.
Yeah, we're getting close.
It's getting close to a sell. Like a big sell.
They're getting close to like bankruptcy. Like that's where they are. They're getting close to.
And maybe that's when they'll finally pull the trigger then, because immediately the follow-up to the movie you make after you win Best Picture will automatically, no matter how far in the future it is, will get a lot of attention.
Josh, what do you think of
a lot of attention? It'll get scrutinized very harshly.
Josh, what do you think of Swiss Army Man? Because I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people don't talk about that film. They just talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I like Swiss Army Man.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Jay?
I think Everything Everywhere is better, but I'm
like very whatever on Swiss Army Man. I'm slightly negative on Swiss Army Man.
I just didn't want it to get past us in a conversation about them for sure.
Yeah.
Celine Song.
That movie was 10 years ago.
What, Swiss Army Man?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Fart and the Corpse?
Yeah.
Man?
9. Yeah.
Jay? Thoughts? Celine Song?
Celine Song. I mean, this is like, how do you compare Celine Sciamma to John Watts?
Well, she's actually making her hot dog finger movie right now as we speak.
I'm buying Celine Sciamma. She will continue to make great films and give me like
Jay, the reason
low return. She's like a Bond.
The reason why, Jay,
she's a Bond.
You talk about her is as polls have been coming out, Portrait of a Lady on Fire is one of the 4 films in the Sight and Sound 100 greatest films from like the last 10 years, and it's in our 25 for 25 that we just released up on the website. It is in the New York Times. I think both the reader and the main list as well. It is you talk about a big movie for people for this young generation. It is a huge film for them. I know, Jay, you love it. Josh, I know you love it. I love it. But it is one of those that is pierced through for Neon, and Neon as well too. Neon is a massive, giant company, and this is one of their signature hallmark films of the last 5 to 10 years as a company. I would put this up there with
their superior 2019 movie.
They had this and Parasite, and I agree with Josh. This is the
I love Parasite
film.
too. Like,
I love it.
They were both in my top 10, but
Parasite
was 3, Portrait was 1. So
yeah, this is like beyond. But this is, she is, she's a filmmaker that's not going to make $100 million films. No,
Sciamma is an index fund to me. She's like, as long as you like movies, it will continue to grow.
Yes.
Yeah. Basically agree.
Yeah. She's a buy. When is she making her next film? Probably next year? 2 years? Doesn't matter. I'll see.
Haven't talked to her in a while. I'll let you know next time I speak to her.
I thought you talked to her like weekly.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it on the pod.
No, okay. All right. We're going to keep it. Yeah. All right. Josh Safdie. And
these
then,
are some of the, this is the most.
And at the same time, let's do it.
Perhaps
Benny Safdie. Let's do them both at the same time. The Safdie Brothers.
Well, I mean, Benny is the one that just has a higher profile just in general because he's been acting. So
yeah, he's worked.
But in terms of
he's worked with the likes of
buying Josh, selling Benny.
You're selling Benny.
I'm selling Benny. I think Josh is kind of the Joel Cohen of the duo, where he's sort of the real driving force.
But Joel's only made one movie though, whereas Ethan's already on his second.
Yeah, that's not something to brag about, Josh.
But I'm just saying, in terms of the work,
that's fair.
One of them's getting it.
Yeah,
this is pure. This is what stocks are, is speculation. My interpretation of that relationship has been that Josh is kind of the creative force from a director's perspective, and Benny is kind of the
writer,
kind of more wayward, just like so random kind of guy. Josh seems like more of the visionary to me.
Okay.
I'm buying Josh.
You think Josh Safdie's been carrying his brother?
From a directorial standpoint?
Yeah.
Honestly, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did Benny write the what was the Nathan Fielder show? With Emma Stone?
The Curse?
Did he co-write that? Is that a co-written project, or was that just Fielder? I just wanted to double check and make sure on that. I felt like it was
The
at
Curse.
least
He co-created it with Fielder.
Okay,
and co-wrote it.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. I was right on that. I am doing.
But he does feel more interested in acting now, though.
I think that the guy that is acting in films from Paul Thomas Anderson and Christopher Nolan learns a thing or two, maybe on how to be a good director.
Let's figure out how you feel about Josh, though.
I think Josh is actually the one that is out of the public eye the most. And
I mean, clearly.
I think that from listening to the descriptions of Marty Supreme, I am not as sold on that as everybody else thinks it is. I think, though, that could be a really interesting film, but there's something about, honestly, I would love it if both of them are together. I think we can all agree on that.
I would love it if both of those movies are awesome.
I would like it if they were both good too. I think
they both get to be creative.
I think both of those movies are actually could be an extremely mixed bag. The piece, because what is it called? The Smashing
Machine.
I keep going into calling it other things, but it's the Smashing Machine. That movie, I've been saying it. That has a TIFF Audience Award winning prize written all over it, doesn't it, Josh? And it has Emily Blunt winning Best Supporting Actress written all over it.
I don't know if I'm going to go that far.
Yeah, but it's got that, it's got fighter vibes and crowd pleasing vibes behind it. Not necessarily what you would know from a Safdie Brothers like Good Time or Uncut Gems or their other films. And I think that that's what we're kind of expecting from Marty Supreme. A little bit just about the cast and with Chalamet and what that movie could be. But
I feel like that movie's going to be weirder, though.
I think it's going to be extremely weirder than what we get credit for. And I think that's a movie that maybe we would like, but I don't think audiences are really going to go for it. I honestly think it'll be another test of the Chalamet movie star, because I think it'll be so out there. It's a good
cart to hitch your horse on, though.
It is very much so, but I don't know.
It's coming out on Christmas. Get ready.
I don't know what that movie is going to be. Actually, we haven't even seen any footage of it. We're just seeing like photos and stuff. But I think that you can't sell Benny, because I do think that, when you're sitting around with, making movies with Paul Thomas Anderson and Christopher Nolan, you pick up a thing or two, or you get inspired a little bit. Like, I'm not saying that you're going to be those guys, but I think you learn something from them, So, and he was already a director. It's not like he just learned how to direct. So I don't know. I think that, I would hold on Josh and maybe buy Benny at this point.
Interesting.
Just because I also have the thing of, I think Benny will make more movies solo than Josh will too.
I think I'm just sort of a hold on both, honestly. Okay. Just because I don't.
And he worked with Fielder.
Yeah,
he's working.
Like Nathan Fielder, that's work that also, you talk about niche.
I know.
People, it is very passionate based, but not for everybody. So,
Josh, remember when Nolan did a Q&A?
Yeah, Marty Supreme was shot by Darius Kanji. I'm so excited for Marty Supreme, man. I can't wait for Marty Supreme.
Jay,
between the two movies, I would much rather.
I mean,
wanna
I'm
see
much
Mario
more
Supreme.
looking to Mario Supreme, but I also see the
Darius Kanji, Tyler
Yeah.
the Creator, Penn Jillette for some reason. What's he going to do with that?
Gwyneth Paltrow, Fran Drescher.
I can't wait.
So what a press tour that thing's going to be, right?
Josh just seems like the one who just has more of a sense of like artistic.
Well, I
self
think
to
isn't
me.
like the guy that worked with both of them, like their other creative. I don't remember what his name is, but like the guy that worked with them on Good Time and Uncut Gems. I think he's
like a producer or somebody.
like a producer or something. He's working with Josh, and not with Benny, which is interesting. Which is interesting.
He went with that parent.
Yeah,
in the divorce.
yeah, he went exactly. But I don't necessarily think that they're going to be done with each other for a while. I think that they might, after a certain point, come back together. If they're together, I buy it all the way.
Yeah, as
Separately,
a package.
Actually, Josh, you might be right. Separately, they might be a hold. You know,
As far as
I just don't know
being
what those movies
famous,
are gonna
I
be
bet
like.
a lot more on Benny. But
Yes.
as a director,
Well,
I
they're
would
both
put my money on
directors.
Josh.
Well, they're both directors, Jay.
No, but I'm saying as being
single
famous,
entities.
yeah.
Okay.
Benny will be more famous, and Josh, I think, will be a more interesting director
Okay.
because Benny is now a Nolan guy. I think that's a good way to get famous.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
You
I
know what
think
else is
Josh
yeah.
seems to be in my opinion, I'm putting my money on Josh as being like the really interesting filmmaker.
All right. So I think we're holding on both.
Sure.
But
I guess.
we'll talk about this in the fall because we'll have more evidence in the fall.
We'll talk about it in the fall.
We'll talk about it in the fall. We'll come back to it. Julia Ducournau.
Yeah, I have not seen the new one that everybody
I have.
hates. So
Again, I have to kind of abstain a little bit here. Or not.
Well,
I mean, it's not
I mean-
fair. It's not fair to her in this
Well,
debate.
just based on that word, it didn't sound very positive.
It's not positive.
Yeah.
If I could, this went from, this is the ultimate swing. I'm just going to say it. I was buying this stock and now I would sell it.
now you're selling. And so
It's
for that
it's
reason, I'm
bad.
gonna hold because I haven't seen it. I don't know.
I think I would still say sell too, even though I also haven't seen it. But like that, like she's a filmmaker that
Jay, you're going to hate
talked
this movie.
about.
Okay.
You're going to hate Alpha.
Yeah,
You hate
I
movies that
haven't
are
seen
like
it,
misery porn, Jay. That's what this movie is. You're not going to like it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like one you put on with the kid. You know?
And I think the problem for her though is that again, she's going to be somebody that will succeed in these more niche markets, but to do that, you really need to be consistent at it as well. And we've already seen going from Teton to Alpha, there is not a consistency there. And she'll still probably keep making movies, but I don't know if she's still going to be at the same level as when Teton came out, which to be honest, I thought Teton was a little overrated to begin with, so it wasn't even one of my favorites, but I recognized that it was a really big distinctive voice happening that people were excited about. I think Alpha has completely cut down a lot of that momentum that she built up from that. So I think at this point I would say sell.
All right.
That's fine. I'm good with that.
Sell.
As a consensus sell, I have no problem with that.
Brady Corbet.
Sell.
Oh. Josh.
Kind of also would sell.
All
I think
right.
he's at an all-time high. I hated Vox Lux.
Okay.
And I did not like The Brutalist nearly as much as other people did.
You
So,
liked half
I think
of
the Brutalist, he was very lucky that everything kind of came together, but that's atypical of his filmography. I don't think that that's what he's going to keep doing. Obviously, people will see whatever he does next, but I think they're going to realize, oh no, he is more like Vox Lux than he is. The
he
Brutalist.
also got a lot of credit for the kind of external look at how hard he worked to make this movie stuff outside of the actual text that I think is not going to apply moving forward.
I still haven't seen Vox Lux.
Congratulations.
Well, it just like everyone keeps telling me you should, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to because everybody just says it's bad, or everyone gives you that.
I've never seen
just
any of
watch.
Defenders.
You know,
I've never seen any of his other stuff.
Well, he only had one other film.
Yeah, well, one other like actually released.
Childhood
movie,
of a Leader.
Yeah, with like Arpats.
Yeah, he's like a supporting character because the main character's a kid.
I'm I'm gonna hold until I see Fox Lux, but I think I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next. I mean, I know he's also
Everybody
writing.
is, yeah.
He's writing. He works with Mona Fastball. His partner. She's got a film. I think that's going to be at Venice. So
That's the rumor. Yeah,
they'll be around again. So they're selling. We're selling to as a collective. I already know where Jay's going with this one, but Sean Durkin.
Biggest buy of all time. I'm a Durkin head.
You're Durkin head.
Love him.
You're welcome, by the way.
For what?
I turned you on to Durkin. I was like, watch Marthy May Marlene and watch.
Did you? You may have.
And then we watched The Nest.
Yeah, maybe you did. I mean, I love. He's made 3 movies in 15 years. And I really, really like to love all of them. I'm pro him. I have no idea what he's going to do next.
Pro Iron Claw.
I can tell you it's not going to be financially successful or probably awards viable.
Was Iron Claw
love it
financially successful?
Iron Claw was very financially successful.
Yeah, Iron Claw was a hit for what it was.
Okay. I just don't. I remember how much it made.
I'm looking at it now.
I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was a decent.
What was the budget on it?
16 million budget, 45 box office.
That's
so it's
not
like it was like good,
like a push.
He gets to make another movie.
Yeah, cool.
That's what that means. Yeah,
yeah. For a movie like that, how hard it is of a watch.
The Nest made 2.1 million.
Yeah, well, that came out during the pandemic, James. So
that is true.
Yeah,
Martha Barcy Marlene made 5.4 million on a $600,000 budget.
That's pretty good.
Okay,
that's pretty good.
He's box office gold.
Josh.
This is a kind of difficult one for me because I think his track record does suggest like he's a very solid director that's a pretty good return on investment, but I don't know if he really has like the presence to really get a wide swath of people, even in a niche market, to go see his stuff. Like Iron Claw was a bit of a breakout because it was dealing with a subject that kind of crossed over outside of the art house realm. That's why I think it was able to do a lot better. But I don't know if that's really because of him or just the subject matter itself, you know. So I think
it's probably the latter, but I just love him.
Yeah.
So I'm buying. I'm happy to have that stock in my portfolio.
I think I'm more of a hold, honestly. I just feel more so like he has a good filmography, but I don't feel like it's robust enough for me to buy it.
I'm a buy it. I've had the Durkin stock.
Oh, you're buying. You're one of the. You're a Durkin dude.
I've had it since Martha Marcy May Marlene, man.
Welcome to the Durkin dudes, my friend.
You don't need to welcome me. I've been there the whole time, buddy.
Welcome.
No, do you not welcome me into this?
I need to watch Dead Ringers, the TV show.
It's good. It's good stuff.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
You watched it? Yeah.
Oh, so you were Rachel Weisz?
Yeah, I was the one. Thank you, Josh.
I mean, it's an Amazon show, so nobody's watching.
Oh, it's like a FX, wasn't it?
No, that was Amazon.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was Amazon.
I can't remember where I watched. I would think I watched.
Durkin directed half of the episodes. Rachel Weisz, excuse me.
Exactly. That's all you need to know.
Is she an important person, Jay?
Oh man, here you go, Josh.
She's a certified. If I'm buying stock,
I do listen to Director Watch.
Yes, he does.
I'm buying stock.
We don't have to explain that to him.
Yeah.
For any of you listeners out there, of course, that don't listen to Director Watch and are hearing this on the Awards Watch main feed for the first time, an important person is someone that we deem that we have a crush on or that we love deeply, but want to say it in a respectful tone and manner, and that's why we say that they are an important person to us. That's all you need to say.
Shout out Rachel Weisz.
Shout out
Daniel Craig.
Shout out Daniel Craig. Shout out that couple.
Yeah. One of the great couples.
Whoo! You know who might be entering that, Jay? I saw those pictures of Monica Barbaro and Andrew Garfield at Wimbledon. Hot couple.
My goodness. Make Rachel Weisz the next Bond.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Daniel Craig, a Bond.
I'm sure she'd probably say no, considering the fact she's got a bunch of horror stories from that household. I guarantee you.
All right. Sean Durkin.
We're buying the stock.
It's a soft buy.
Yeah. Jeff Nichols. Do you know who Jeff Nichols is, Jay?
Yeah, that's the he's like one of Bezos's kids?
No, god damn
Oh,
it. No.
sorry.
No. Jay, did you go to the wedding?
The Bezos wedding? My invitation got lost in the mail. I never saw Bike Riders, so I
You never
kind of
saw
have
Bike
to
Riders?
abstain from this. Never saw Bike Riders.
That feels like
Everyone
Josh,
told
that
me
kind of
that it
feels like
was
a J movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Boring.
Yeah, but I feel like you would have watched it anyway.
I need to watch it. Yeah.
It's got your guy in it. You love Butler.
It's got Butler. It's got A Bud in it.
It's got Hardy. You like Tom Hardy, right?
Yeah. So honestly, I'm gonna just give a hold just based on I like some of his stuff. I've never been the biggest fan in the world, and I haven't seen Bike Riders. So
I'm gonna sell.
Ooh.
Honestly, yeah. I think that he is a filmmaker that came in with a lot of goodwill that I don't think has really been capitalized on. And I think he's been trying to get the movies made that he has wanted to, and I do appreciate that. But I find his output to be very underwhelming, to be honest. And I know there are people that love his movies. Yeah.
Or I guess 3 movies in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna sell.
Okay. I'm gonna hold. I'm not gonna sell. He's a nice guy. Met him a couple times.
I'm sure
this is getting into personal.
Interviewed him last year.
This is not how stocks are bought and sold, Ryan, on personal relationships. This is
Are you kidding me? People do. People buy all the time off of.
This is a cutthroat.
You have to do it
industry.
the actual honest way, and that's through a member of Congress giving you inside information.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was not the biggest fan of the Bike Riders. I actually think it's the worst film of his filmography to date. But it's because I'm also
high. Jodie Comer, though. I did like her.
Oh, you like Jodie? So you're the one.
There are multiple people who love Jodie Comer.
I love Jodie Comer, just not in that film. But no, I will say
I don't know about that, Ryan. I don't know.
She's doing accent choices, but I love his other films, and he's got some films coming up that I would be very curious to see if they get made. He is adapting the last 2 of the Cormac McCarthy novels, and I would be very curious to see how he does that. He's got a sci-fi project that he wants to work on, that he's trying to work on as well. I think that the guy is really, really nice and good, but his last movie was just not good, and that should have worked for me because it's got Hardy and Butler and Comer and all these other actors, and I just felt it was kind of meandering. And but he also is a guy that I could see turning it back around on the next film. But I don't know how much money that movie didn't make that much, and I don't think, and it didn't really do the whole Northman model either.
I bet it did well on streaming.
I bet it did. We don't know those numbers, but so that's why it's in a hold. And to be evaluated at a future date. And I think that's where he belongs, in a hold. Gareth Evans.
We're going back to back Gareths here.
Yeah.
So let's just do a Gareth.
I'm gonna do Gareth Assans.
Yeah.
All right, let's do Evans.
Evans, you gotta sell. I think he might be cooked.
Did you watch that new film of his?
Havoc, I've seen parts of.
Okay.
Which is just the Netflix way. And I think it's unfortunate that he's been kind of pigeonholed into that Netflix world.
Yeah, because he's had, what was it, Apostle,
which I thought was a pretty decent movie.
I liked Apostle, yeah.
But made no waves at all. Like just meant nothing. Mm-hmm. And Havoc also, I feel like just totally came and went.
He's just riding off the Raid movies.
I think he's a really talented guy who just has not found his place. And so I'm going to sell his future.
Yeah, I think I agree. He really just has been riding off of the success of the Raid, which totally understand it, because especially from a directorial standpoint, it's like very few action movies look like that. And that deserves a lot of credit. But it's been over a decade since those movies came out, and he hasn't touched that success even a little bit.
And it feels like people have caught up to him in that regard.
Yeah.
Too.
And I have not seen Havoc either, but I heard that it was terrible. And I think if you can't even then make a somewhat competent action movie, even if it's not as good as the Raid films, people still don't like that, that's not a good sign.
I'd sell as well. Though I do still want to see it. It's just
I
it's one
need
of the
to finish it, but
it's one of the films on the list of films I got to catch up with.
Unfortunately, it feels very kind of derivative at this point between obviously John Wick has sort of become this
John Wick is spawned off from the Raid
of
movies,
like the expectation for what action movies like that are. They are derivative of the Raid, and I think even
but they have surpassed it.
Stahelski would say like, "Oh yeah, the Raid is one of the biggest influences on John Wick," but John Wick has entirely surpassed it as far as influence and importance.
Yeah.
And Evans has just never even come close to the relevance of Wick.
Stahelski not eligible over 50. So on this list.
Well, he basically redirected Ballerina from what I understand. So
yeah. Well, he's doing great.
Just the parts that you liked in the movie.
Yeah.
He's doing great. He's got a lot
of consensus.
That guy's got a lot going for him. You know what I mean? So
we love him.
Personal fan of the show. But anyway, Gareth Edwards.
The other Gareth.
Now, this is the one that's hard for me to judge because obviously he has made movies that are very successful, and that's undeniable. However, I don't like any of them. So, personally speaking, I just have not bought into his filmography. I really do. I mean, hack is a strong word to use, but I do find there is some hackish
He's on Hack
material.
Watch. He's on Hack Watch.
Yeah.
So I don't like his movies, but I can't deny that they're all pretty successful. So
he's a great cog in the machine, man.
Yeah, he is. He really
But he
is.
wants to be so much more than that.
He so does. And you can tell in those interviews, he's like, I've got the next thing. And it's like, no, you don't. You have none of that.
I'm selling. The creator has me officially on full sell.
Oh, you hated the creator?
I didn't hate the creator, but it was just like,
so.
Why isn't this movie better? Like, be a producer on a movie or be a cinematographer or something. You have something,
or get a different writer.
But you don't have writer director in your bag.
And the creator is, original. So it's not like you can even say, well, he's constrained by studio IP or whatever. Like, the creator is the movie that is supposed to show I'm a real director. Like, I'm a
real boy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not just a studio for hire. I can make a real movie. And I know there are some people that like it. I did not. So
basically every one of his movies is like, oh, that was pretty, but who cares? That's what every Gareth Edwards movie is for me, kind of.
Okay. So back-to-back sells?
Sell. We're out on the Gareths.
I think Gareth Edwards is not something everybody would say sell to, but I would.
I agreed.
James Wan. Bye.
James Wan. What has he got going on now?
I don't care.
He might be doing the next Saw movie because I think he's got the rights.
He might be getting his because he got his rights back.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, good for him.
I'm excited.
Anytime James Wan makes a film, it's great.
He currently has 7 things in quote unquote pre-production.
Remember Malignant?
Remember
how good Malignant was?
Malignant rocks.
We were on a roll. If he can make a as a producer also too, Josh, he has his name
stinks
on so many things.
Man, he hasn't made that many movies in a long time either.
Yeah.
But look at the hits though within there.
I mean, I love the original Aquaman. I love Malignant.
The Fast movie he did was probably the last good one.
I like his Furious 7, but I'm looking at his filmography. I'm like kind of indifferent.
Insidious and The Conjuring are good. Their sequels are not.
I love Malignant so much though.
The first Saw is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's soft buy still. Like, I mean,
he has a lane definitely for sure, but I think
you need people in that lane.
John
he
Carpenter
kind of has a hold on modern horror, I think.
Wes Craven had his lane and he's stuck in it for the most part. You got to have people that are staples
every once in a while.
Yeah, but you got to have staples in your genre.
But he also has a feel for like junk. Like Night Swim was a big success. It was absolute junk.
I feel like
that was really bad.
I feel like if James Wan made a movie right now, directed a movie, which is probably going to happen here in the next year or two, and it's in the horror franchise, I think it's going to do great because they're going to say from the director of Saw and Malignant and The Conjuring, and people will go to it because Conjuring was a big hit as well.
Conjuring
So,
1, I like a lot.
yeah, that movie's
I
very
like that
good.
movie. I don't love the first Conjuring, but
I
it's a
don't
good
like
movie.
either of the other canonical Conjurings.
No,
No,
Nor do I like
it's
the
series of diminishing
Conjuring
returns.
spin-offs.
you don't like The Nun?
The Nuns, Nun 2,
You'll have none of it.
Curse of La
Okay.
Llorona, Annabelle Comes Home. James Wan he's got to be living in the biggest house in America, man.
Yeah, he's got to just
Oh,
be
yeah.
living it up. Him and Jason Blum have been
Living in that malignant house. You
Yeah,
know
exactly.
how big that house was in that movie?
Oh my God, it was such a big house.
Those ceilings were so tall.
God, I love that movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Why don't we have that on
Insidious.
physical media? They don't have that out there, right? It's like one of
No,
those.
they do.
Is
I
it?
have it.
Oh, you
I
okay?
own it.
It's out there.
They got a
Okay.
Malignant Blue out there.
Yeah, I do.
I gotta get that Malignant Blue. All right. Well, Josh, you know what to get us next year for our birthdays.
I'm going to hold on Juan. He has made, in my opinion, one good movie.
Stronghold?
Two good movies in the last 10 years. He's batting 500 in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I'm a buy.
I'm going hold.
I'm
I
a
like
soft
him
buy.
though. I like him a lot though. But he kind of feels like he's in that I am an enterprise less than a director at this point things.
But when he does direct, though,
But
they
then when
are
he
like
directed, he did
solid
Malignant.
hits.
You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah,
it's
he also
like-
did Aquaman 2.
Well, yeah,
you know?
but I mean,
But that
And
made
I
a
feel like
bunch
he
of
was
money.
I feel like he was kind of consumed by the Aquaman thing for a while. So hopefully he's unshackled from
well,
that.
it's not like
and
James Gunn's going to call him up, and which he should.
Probably
'cause
not. He should,
really,
though.
He should. Yeah.
The James Gunn thing is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, that's.
There's a lot hinging
we're-
on that Superman movie.
We're
man.
talking about it next week. We're not talking about
We
it
are.
this week.
We are. Okay.
So he's a buy.
Ryan, we cannot do all of these.
No, we won't do all these.
Okay.
We're going to start skipping around. Calm down, Jay. Jeez.
Okay. There's
Taika
a lot
Wait-
here.
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. This is one of those where it is like, this is a like junk stock. Like who believes in Taika Waititi anymore?
Yeah.
So the question is, does he have anything left? And if you think so, then you have to buy. Right?
I mean, that last.
If you think so.
His last two movies, the Thor movie did not do well at all.
It was bad.
And then the
Yeah.
next Goal Wins
Was bad.
Was bad. And then he's got
And it
the
was
Amy.
delayed forever.
And then he's got the Amy Adams movie that comes out that sounds bad. So this is a sell.
Yeah,
What
this
is that?
It's like Clara in the Sun.
A sci-fi movie?
It's going to be bad.
A robot named Clara exists to ease the loneliness of those she lives with. Were either of y'all ever in the Taika hive? Were you like, oh, this guy's
I
very
think
talented?
I
At
think-
one
good.
point,
I think when What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People came out,
I really liked Hunt for the Wilder People.
I thought, okay, this guy's
Really liked it.
interesting. And I didn't mind his first Thor. And then I've gone back and forth with Jojo Rabbit to now
Jojo
where
Rabbit
I'm
is
now
poison.
to now I do not like that movie because I don't actually think it says anything interesting in it.
Jojo Rabbit is absolute poison.
So I've come from this guy had it, and then also I think the problem was he won the Oscar. He was in every movie for like a year.
victim of overexposure.
He
for
was
sure.
so overexposed.
Oh, for sure. Well, but he loved being kind of the face
Yeah,
of his
he wanted
movies.
that.
He loved it.
And then it went from
he fell on his
okay,
face.
it's kind of cute to wow, this is super annoying and graining. And then
I'm selling. I can absolutely not in good conscience.
We
buy,
should have just we
Taika
got
Waititi stock.
sell and move on.
There we go.
All right. Jay, do you want to do a quick Ramel Ross since you brought him up earlier?
Yeah, buy all day, every day. I will enjoy just having equity in him, even as his movies continue to make $2 million.
Okay. Josh?
Yeah, for what he's going to do, I think he is absolutely going to be a name that will have a dedicated following, and I would buy it for that.
Nia DaCosta. I think
This is an interesting one.
This is one of the most interesting names on the list.
Because she has potentially a huge boon on her hands with because she's doing the next 28
Correct.
Mhm.
She
Years,
is doing
years,
the bone
years, days,
bone
whatever.
temple.
We're going to do
the
28
bone
decades,
temple, which already has
decades later now at this point.
she has the best named film of the year next year if that movie comes out. The Bone Temple. Just absolutely no, I'm being serious, Josh. That's a cool ass name for a title.
So she definitely has some speculative. Her stock has gone up ever since that was announced. I am going to sell.
Okay.
I did not think there was a lot to admire with Candyman, especially. And then I have to almost just question her willingness to do the Marvels movie.
I feel like a lot of that
also,
got taken out of her hands by the end of that.
No, but I agree with that. But also her kind of backtracking and being like, oh, well, that wasn't really my fault thing for as new of a director as she is. I'm kind of like, I mean, you did it, you know? So well, what else do we have to go on other than that? And Little Woods was like one of those classic, oh, let's see what else she can do.
It's a classic J. Ledbetter, 3 stars.
Can't wait to see what
Can't
she
wait to
does
see
next.
what you do next.
And then I've seen what she has done next, and it does not give me a lot of hope.
She has a film coming out this year, Hedda, right? With Tessa Thompson. So
yeah, Little Woods reunion.
Let's get some early traction. I believe it will. I think they just confirmed that it will be premiering at the Toronto International Film Festival. I am very curious about. I mean, she's very young. Still,
she's very young. Candyman like looked good.
Another one of those
vapid.
Another one of those produced by Jordan Peele, and we all got anticipated, and then we went and saw it, and it just wasn't as good as we wanted it to be. Hell of a marketing campaign though on that thing.
Yeah,
but
not a good movie though.
She's in a I have to sell until I see Hedda and until I see what she does with what I have to see what she has to do with this 28 years later sequel. I wasn't like, let's jump over the moon for the new 28 years later film, but it is interesting to go from Boyle to her back to Boyle. That is an interesting thing. And I'm so okay, maybe I'll probably hold because I am curious about the next 2 films. I mean, they're not like top 10 the most anticipated, but I'm so curious about these 2 things.
Yeah. So, I'm a hold for her. Like, I do think Candyman and the Marvels they're not great evidence to keep going, but I do want to have faith in 28 years later, the sequel. And I think Hedda can also be pretty interesting too. I think that is going to be a project that I'm going to put faith in. So I'm a little bit more optimistic at a hold, but I definitely understand the impulse to say sell at the same time.
Okay. We are going to hold for her.
Well, you 2 are sell, right?
I know. I switched it to hold.
Oh, okay. All right. We're gonna hold.
David Gordon Green.
I don't even know what has he got going on.
What was the last thing he did?
The Exorcist movie.
Yeah,
fuck hell. Oh my god, that movie, I am not exaggerating, I think is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Whoa.
I really do think of everything I have seen, I think it is the worst film.
Like of all time?
Yes, I really do. It is a movie that fails at every single thing that you could imagine.
Jay, I can't disagree.
So Josh is going sell.
All
right. He directed, what is Nutcrackers? Did anybody see Nutcrackers?
No.
Looks like it was a Hulu comedy starring Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller never acts anymore. That's like kind of a big deal that he was in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell on David Gordon Green. I think, I mean, he's gone fully down that horror legacy sequel rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Other than this Nutcracker movie, which clearly didn't make much of an impact.
Clearly a sell.
Yeah.
So
I like David Gordon Green too. I've always kind of enjoyed how he went back and forth between highbrow and lowbrow, and I mean, he still did Righteous Gemstones, which is good.
Yeah.
But
his lowbrow stuff though is so terrible though.
Yeah.
God, Your Highness, my God.
Pineapple Express is fun.
It's okay.
Pablo Larraín.
Oh boy, what has he got coming up?
Nothing, I believe, but he just did Maria, right?
Maria, which I never saw.
Damn, Jay, watch something.
Yeah,
it's your job.
I'm gonna still say bye. I think that his stock has been waning a bit with the like trilogy stuff that he's been doing.
The Sad
Yeah.
Girl trilogy.
Sad
Yeah,
Girl
but
trilogy.
I do find him to still be a very interesting filmmaker. I think he will always have an audience, especially on a global stage. So I still think he's going to be a filmmaker people will be very interested in, and he's going to have a lot of interesting films made. I don't think they will be at the heights of like, the Jackie era, for instance, but I still have faith, and I would say bye.
Okay.
I'm gonna have
Um,
to give him a hold because I didn't see Maria, and I like some of his other stuff, and I dislike other things. I didn't think, the Princess Di movie was particularly successful,
Spencer.
but Spencer, yeah.
I would buy. He's evidently has this great relationship with Netflix over the last two films.
Oh,
He's just
great.
gonna.
Bye. We love
He's
when
gonna.
people have a great relationship with
No, it
Netflix.
just seems like he's going to make films and have that good deal to be able to get his films platformed on that streaming service. He did that with El Conde. He did that with Spencer. I mean, not Spencer, with
Yeah,
Maria.
with Maria.
So he's. I think
He makes a good looking movie.
he makes a
I
good
will
looking movie.
give him
Well,
that.
listen,
Yeah,
good
In
looking man
service
makes a good
of
looking
what?
movie.
there you go.
Sometimes is the
But then when he's
question.
not doing that, it's probably just
I still
hanging
have
out.
the slide.
Oh,
I do
you have the
too.
slide thing that they gave
Oh,
us.
That's
yeah.
like the only thing I kept.
That was a
That's
good.
that's
That
the
was a good little
legacy of
thing.
Maria.
There
Is
you
the
go. Um. So yeah, bye. Trey over Schultz.
oh my God. What is
What is a cell?
no, I'm trying to think of what's beyond a cell.
Um.
Like liquidation.
Bankrupt. Yeah, you're bankrupt.
It's gonna be like, in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they put the cartoons in the acid.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm gonna do with my Trey Edward Schultz
Oh my
stock.
God. Jay.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I loved Krisha. That was one of my favorite movies that year. I thought it was incredible. I loved that film so much. But everything since then has just been a precipitous drop. And what's the thing that just came out?
The weekend thing.
Yeah,
Hurry Up Tomorrow.
yeah, Hurry Up Tomorrow,
Yeah.
which I did not
I
see,
haven't seen it.
but
I'm gonna watch it. I can't wait.
the reaction was just so visceral to it that I
Jay,
feel
you
like that's
sounded
the nail
so
in the coffin.
sarcastic saying that. Cannot wait.
No, I'm gonna watch it for sure.
I was going to see it. I had a ticket that I was going to go out to see it, but then literally everybody said this movie is dog shit, and I was like,
Oh
okay,
my
well,
God.
I'm saving my evening for some other plans then. So I think that this is unfortunately a hard sell.
Yeah, it's a cell
You're talking to one of the great waves haters in the
of all
world.
time. Yeah, right
So
here.
I can
Jay,
believe it.
I
J-
hate that movie.
Quickly, Jason Reitman.
I,
I think he still has enough prestige to say hold, even
Hold,
though
right?
I kind of don't believe it myself. But I think the name Jason
He's
Reitman,
made good movies, so it keeps making you want to think that he's gonna make
yeah,
a great one sometime soon, or a very good one.
I was
I
kind of
didn't.
I'm
I
kind of
didn't.
in the Tully hive. I like Tully.
I didn't dislike all the way like some people did once they finally got it to Saturday night. I know that people go back and forth on that. I think Tully's pretty good. Young adult's
Holly is very
good.
good.
I
The
think
lesson is that he needs to work with uh,
Diablo Cody.
Diablo Cody, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is he needs to stop making the damn um,
Well,
Ghostbusters.
yeah.
Ghostbusters movies. He's got to stop.
He's
making
got
them.
daddy issues. He's got to work through.
Yeah, exactly. So it sounds like a hold.
We'll give a
him.
hold on right.
Yeah, tepid hold.
That's a cheap stock.
Yeah.
You're not. That's not a huge investment at this point.
Olivia Wilde.
Sell.
So
Yeah.
all right. Cooper Rafe.
It's my mortal enemy, right?
Is your bet? Josh, do you know this story?
I do not know.
Jay, you want to say it on the show?
I think he's the only filmmaker who's ever gotten in my DMs to tell me that I'm like a hack douchebag. So,
Wow.
So Josh is now a new friend.
Man.
Cooper,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
hate white on white crime.
Cooper,
You never
Rafe,
get to
who
see it a lot, right, Josh? But when
Yeah,
you
I
do,
know.
it's something.
I don't think he is without talent, but I've never fully liked a Cooper Rafe film.
Yeah. He's got that TV show coming out. I would probably on hold.
Is that what the hockey thing a TV show?
No, he's got one with Lily Reinhart and Mark Ruffalo coming out. It's a TV show. I don't think the hockey movie has.
Is that also with Cooper Hoffman?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's working. I don't think the hockey thing's his next thing right now. He's not working on that right now.
Oh, he's not doing the Trashers?
I don't think
has
so.
that been like pushed back? Oh, interesting. Yeah. Oh, that's kind of like not on the docket anymore.
Yeah. Just kind of sad
thing. Hallen Harper.
Okay. Yeah. Hallen Harper.
Yeah.
Like a hold? Or you sell?
I'm more sell.
Okay.
To be honest. Yeah. I think that
for non-personal reasons you're selling.
Oh, well, thank God Cooper Raiff is going to be starring in his new TV show. He's such a
we're at. We don't
look. To be honest with you,
he's such a humble artist.
That's the problem.
But like that's a selling point for me because I actually don't mind looking at Cooper Raiff in his projects. The quality of them themselves is another thing. But I also feel like the types of movie he's making, I just don't feel like they're all that particularly special. Like they feel very much in the vein of what you would expect of rather, quote unquote, feel good, wholesome indie fare. Like I know he has maybe a little bit of a darker streak in it, but they feel pretty similar to other things out there. So even within the niche market, I don't find him to be a unique voice enough for me to say like he's a big name.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we'll see. He listens to the pod. He'll be the guest next week.
Yeah, he'll be the guest
on Director Watch.
Well, I just said he was hot, so hopefully that gives me some brownie points.
There you go. Selling though. Rizuke Hamaguchi.
I mean, how do you even compare that to anyone else we've talked about? It's a buy for the sake of cinema.
I mean, he is, very comparative to Cooper Raiff. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. He's kind of
the Cooper Raiff of his time.
Well, he also had a well-established career well before Drive My Car. So, like, he was already
is he under 50?
Yes.
Okay.
From what I found.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jay, did you see Evil Does Not Exist?
No, I have not. I'm behind on my.
He didn't watch anything last year.
I do need to watch it again though, because I saw that movie at Venice in 2023.
Late at night.
I will admit, I like that movie.
Got a little sleepy.
I did.
Because
it was like the fourth movie I'd seen that day. I'd already written 2 reviews. I'd been up since 6 a.m. And Hamaguchi movies, they're very good, but very deliberately paced. And at that point in the evening, lights are low, the movie's moving kind of slow. I might have dozed off just a little bit. I didn't sleep through the whole movie, but enough for me to say like I should watch it again.
I want to get through these names quickly. So first thing off the top of your head.
Speed round.
Kelly Freeman Craig.
Bye. Love her. Wish she did more.
Bye. Justine Triet.
Bye.
I'll give a hold.
Michael Sarnowski.
I'm gonna buy.
Yeah,
hold.
I would buy too.
I'm kind of in.
Right. He gets by. Sean Heater. Who made your favorite movie, Jay?
Wait, is that the
Coda?
Yeah, it's the Coda.
Oh, I was like, what? I was thinking of the Napoleon Dynamite guy. But no, that's Bill Hader, not Sean Heater. Does she have anything else going on in development?
I think she announced something recently, right? Maybe.
No.
I'm gonna sell.
Okay.
I mean, what do I have to go on?
Yeah, I would say sell.
Again, Strike While the Iron's Hot, and she hasn't. She had a Barry
But that's
cameo.
also a movie that, like, the fact that it had so much Oscar success was like, you couldn't predict that completely.
And it's also kind of her downfall. Yeah. It's like almost unfortunate.
Yeah. I was literally just thinking about Coda not too long ago and thinking, man, that's like kind of silly that movie won Best Picture. Like, it's a good movie, but it's pretty silly that it's a Best Picture winner.
Zach Krieger.
I'm buying, man. I can't wait for that movie.
I can't wait for Weapons.
Like half of it was shot like right next door for me, so I'm predisposed to like.
Well, where those kids they ran to Jay's house in the basement.
They did.
So, there you go.
I can't wait for that movie.
That movie's gonna be great.
Looks good.
Bradley Cooper.
It might be terrible, but
Bradley Cooper.
Who knows?
I think I would still say buy. I understand, but
I'm buying.
I'm gonna hold.
I still think I would say bye.
I'm gonna hold. I think A Star Is Born is kind of one of the best movies of the last decade. Uh, so you know what? I'm gonna buy too.
Okay. You loved Maestro.
I didn't love Maestro.
No, you're on board. You said you loved it.
You know what? You're right. I love Maestro.
There you go. John M. Chu.
Oh boy.
All right. I'm just gonna say bye because I think that I know you all don't agree, but I do think he's very talented. I think that he knows
Very
how
online.
to make movies. Okay,
Josh is just trying to again stay in good graces.
I'm just like also bracing myself for the next couple months when Ryan will consistently remind me how much he doesn't like Wicked, which will be very fun. So, yeah, I know. And
we're about to get the worst part of that musical.
He has peaked with Wicked. He will never be more valuable as an entity.
What are you talking about? He's got that Sydney Sweeney movie that he's going to make
with Wicked. No, he's toast after Wicked. He's done. Sell.
Yeah.
I'm a buy.
As long as he's working with Alice Brooks as a cinematographer, sell. Work with somebody else.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah,
but
I knew you wouldn't. I knew you couldn't disagree on that one.
It's not enough for me to say that it was a bad movie. You know.
Did I say Carly Farge? Did I say her yet?
No, but does she have anything else going on?
No, but I'm assuming just off of the success of the substance and rock.
Yeah, I would still say.
That's a pure hold for me.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I would still say bye personally.
I would be very curious to see what she does next.
Yeah,
but I'm worried after seeing.
She's a hot commodity right now. That price is high.
I'm worried after seeing Alpha and the Julia Ducournau track that this is that she's going to repeat, and I pray to God she does not.
But from my perspective, I think the substance is better than Titan. So for me, I take that calculus into effect.
Yes, I agree. All right. Lee Isaac Chung. Hold.
I'd still say bye.
Jay?
Does he have a follow-up
to Twisters?
Works?
I don't know.
I don't think so. He probably is just resting on the Twisters money right now, which I would.
Not a bad move.
Based off Twisters, I'm selling.
Okay. Oh, you're selling?
I'm selling, yeah.
And I'm all right. Well, he's kind of
Twisters was bad.
One buy, one hold, one sell. That's the first time that's happened today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a net hold.
All right. There you go. Charlotte Wells. We're curious to see what the After Sun follow-up
What's
will
after,
be.
I am
after
curious.
Sun?
What's after Sun? I think it's got to be a hold. But a hold or a buy because I'm
I'm not
really curious.
Biggest fan of After Sun.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of wasn't either, which shocked me because I thought I was going to love that movie and I didn't. I was a little disappointed.
All right. I think it's going to be a hold.
I'm going to give it a hold.
So.
There's stuff that I admire about After Sun, and it is certainly it has a vision, which I have to respect.
Emma Segelman?
Oh, hold.
What is their filmography again?
Shiva Baby and Bottoms.
Ah, right. Yeah, I think hold is where I will also land.
Paul King.
Okay, well, I know we have a Paul King hater here.
Has Paul King announced
who? Jay?
I thought Jay didn't like Paul King.
I hate Wonka, I will say. I hate Wonka.
No, but you like the Paddington movies, Jay.
I like the Paddington films.
Josh, would Paul King have made a better Bond film than Denis Villeneuve?
Literally everybody's name on that list I would have preferred over Denis Villeneuve.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
They literally picked the one person I was hoping that they wouldn't.
Honestly, would have been curious to see what Edward Berger could have done with it.
Yeah.
But we would have had Vogel Bergerman do the score, so no.
It's fine. I don't care.
No. That would have... Could you imagine how loud that would be and how just like
how
much it would hurt your head?
Bertelman as much as you guys do. I think
Paddington
music
in
is fine.
He didn't do Paddington in Peru though, Jay.
I know.
And that's I think the problem with that film, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not having weirdly not having him in it, which says something because it's easily the third of that trilogy.
I think it's so good, but it is it's in third place to me.
If he ever does make that Fred Astaire movie with Tom Holland, I think I will burn this place to the ground. I do not.
Or he'll be doing that and too busy to do Bond. So
that's true. You know what? Fair.
You gotta look at it that way.
But
we have to celebrate every single Tom Holland movie that's going to get announced now.
That is a win.
Him not being available for Bond. So
yes,
we
that's
just have
fair.
to design ourselves at this.
That's fair. You know what? Keep him busy. Keep him busy.
Exactly. Every single movie, Ryan,
and everything.
We have to say good.
And everything Zendaya's doing keeps him busy as well because they love to be together. So you know what? That's fine. Fair.
So we have to say good. Fred Astaire
I would still hold on Paul King.
I'm buying. Paddington 2 gets you a buy from life.
That's fair. Jay?
Hold.
Okay. So, Josh, that's a great argument. Last one. Chloe Zhao.
I'm excited for that Hamnet movie. I'm buying
that Hamnet movie.
Obviously I'm saying buy. She's one of my, I'm personally speaking, just one of my favorites. And I also feel like
striking while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
She made
not one of my favorites historically, but that movie sounds very interesting to me and the cast is great.
Jay, where are you at with Eternals?
Bad.
Yeah?
Yeah, bad.
I kind of liked Eternals. It wasn't great, but at least it was different.
It's better than like half the ones that have come out throughout this phase. At least she was trying something. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't all work, but at least it was. They offered something different. It was an experiment, and not all experiments are successful. But I appreciated watching something that didn't feel like every single other Marvel movie.
Admire the swing. I think it was almost entirely unsuccessful, but yes,
I'm looking forward to Hamnet. She's working with Paul Mescal and Jesse Buckley. Joe Alwyn. Yeah.
Shot by Lucas Shaw.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Oh, yeah.
She makes good movies.
That's actually, I actually totally forgot about that. That's going to be good.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm due for a Zone of Interest rewatch just on a lazy Sunday. Just watching Zone of Interest.
You think so? Just to like a pick you up?
Me and the kid hanging out watching Zone of Interest.
Just another one of your comfort watches. Yeah.
Yeah. Reminds me of home.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ. All right. That's the stock market. The director stock market.
What a way to end that.
What a way to end this. All right. On a J note.
Happy 4th of July, ladies and gentlemen.
Jay, are you excited about your new beautiful big bill?
Oh, the big beautiful bill is going to fix nothing and disrupt everything. We're doing great.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great.
Don't do it. No, don't you do anything like that on this show. My God, we really get off the rails. I'm excited to see just in literally a year's time, a lot of these are gonna play out and how we'll be able to come back to this exercise and do a recap.
Who's the one on this list that which one are you most buying?
Like you're hoping that the stock pays out.
Who's the director on this list you're most excited about moving forward?
Josh?
I mean, I think it would be Chloe Zhao, honestly.
That's a good one. Jay?
Peele, probably. I think Peele is just one of the geniuses of our time.
I think Peele, Jenkins, and I gotta say Coogler. Those are the ones.
Eggers is another one for me that I'm just.
Eggers is going to be fascinating for the next move. I really am curious about in February where that Emerald Fennell stock is going to be at.
It's.
I'm curious about Ramel Ross and Charlotte Wells and their follow-ups. Carly Farge, we talked about that as well too.
Emerald Fennell is in like straight up film Twitter jail right now.
I am curious.
Federal prison.
I know we bought it, but when that third Bradley Cooper movie that sounds straight trash comes out, we will stand off of that. That's going to be the
pivot point. That is it. That is a hinge.
Yeah. And also next month we're going to find out about Krieger.
That's an interesting one. It sounds insane. I cannot wait to see it.
The trailer looks
an IMAX
absolutely
release.
Oh, I got to see that in the IMAX.
Yeah.
That's going to be terrifying. So
I can't wait.
I think I'm curious about all of them. And I'm just
already avoiding the second trailer for Weapons. That's
have
how
not
much
watched
I wanna
it.
see
Will not
Yeah.
watch it.
No.
Need to see it. Gotta have it. Super interesting movie.
That's the potential for being one of the next voices of this generation of horror, or just some other guy.
Yeah. So
that's where that is.
Josh, thank you so much for doing this. Can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet, sir?
You can find me on Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd at JR Parham, and you can find my work over at Next Best Picture and AwardsWatch.
J-Dog.
Yeah, listen to this same podcast feed for the Director Watch podcast, where myself and Mr. Ryan McQuade and occasionally Josh Parham will talk about the directors and their filmographies and all their films. Any writing I'm doing, find it on awardswatch.com, Letterboxd, J Ledbetter, Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter, and go watch the films of Paul Thomas Anderson. Why not? Go do it.
All right. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, Blue Sky, Ryan McQuade 77. You can find all my work here at awardswatch.com. Jay's right. If you like podcasts on Thursdays, we release the Director Watch podcast where myself and Jay and I guess sometimes it's Josh, sometimes it's other people. We review films. We're in the middle of a Paul Verhoeven movie series. We're talking Basic Instinct this week.
Which, by the way, I just want to say, just as a regular shout out, Director Watch, great. People should listen to it. Wonderful series.
We didn't pay him at all to say that.
Thank you, Josh.
No, they did not.
Thank you, Josh. Josh messaged us a couple weeks ago and said this, and so
apropos of nothing, just said it was a good podcast,
so, and we got
that was nice.
Great review up on iTunes recently about it as well. We're really Jay, we're killing it.
We're killing it. It's actually crazy how good that podcast is.
Yeah,
you know what's funny? I sent you that message while I was listening to the Hobbit reviews. So.
Yeah, so it's not like he was listening to a movie that he
very
liked.
Normal episode.
Yeah. So iTunes 5-star, Spotify 5-star reviews. We greatly appreciate it. While you're on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's the best place to get all the news, reviews, interviews, all one place. Again, just want to reiterate, we're doing Basic Instinct on Director Watch this week. A totally normal film to talk about.
Yeah.
And
the legacy of that one is normal.
Yeah, nothing scandalous ever came out of that thing. So
yeah.
This is gonna be a real chill episode. We will be back next.
Though.
Yeah, we will be back next week. We will be talking about Superman. It's going to be me and Jay.
The Superman.
The Supermen talking about Superman.
Yeah.
All right? There you go.
Work out between now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know what, Jay? I'm going to give you a compliment right now.
Uh-oh.
You look like David Cornsweet.
This is what everybody's been saying.
You are the second person that has said that. And it's going to get to my head at this point.
I think you, Josh, your check is clearly in the mail.
Yeah. Somebody in, I was at a restaurant with my wife and my son, and
literally trying to close
the check was delivered, and I, was like, okay, I signed it. And then my wife was gathering everything up while I took my son outside. And then the waiter came back and he said, "Oh, by the way, your husband kind of looks like the new Superman guy." And she was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And he was like, "Oh, let me Google David Cornsweet." And then she was like, "Oh, that's very nice." And then she came out and said, "Oh, by the way, the waiter said you look like the new Superman." And I was like, "Hell yeah, brother."
It's accurate.
Hell yeah,
in my
brother.
opinion, so.
Well, we'll be talking about Jay's film.
We're 2 for 2.
Yeah.
On
5 stars. Superman from James Gunn. Like looking in a mirror.
We'll be talking about it next week on the show. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you all next time.